Sunny, yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny, you smiled at me and really eased the pain. Now the dark days are gone, the bright days are here. My sunny one shines so sincere, and sunny one so true. I love you. Sunny, thank you for the sunshine bouquet. Sunny, thank you for the love you brought my way. You gave to me your all in all, and now I feel 10 feet tall. And sunny one so true, I love you. And sunny, thank you for the truth you've let me see. And sunny, thank you for the facts from A to Z. My life was torn like windblown sand. Then a rock was formed when we held hands. And sunny one so true, I love you. Sunny, thank you for that smile up on your face. I said, sunny, thank you for that gleam that flows with grace. You're my spark of nature's fire. You're my sweet, complete desire. Sunny one so true, I love you. Sunny, yesterday my life was filled with rain. I said, sunny, you smiled at me and really eased the pain. Now the dark days are gone, the bright days are here. My sunny one shines so sincere, and sunny one so true, I love you. Oh, and sunny, thank you for the truth you've let me see. I said, sunny, thank you for the facts from A to Z. You know my life was torn like a windblown sand, and a rock was formed when we held hands. And sunny one so true, I do, I do, I do. I love you, I love sunny. Yesterday my life was filled with rain. I said, sunny, you smiled at me and really eased the pain. Now the dark days are gone, the bright days are here. You know my sunny one shines so sincere, and sunny one so true. Oh, sunny one so true, sunny one so true. I love you, I love you, I love you, sunny. Yes, I do. I love you. You know, sometimes when you're feeling kind of good inside, you know, when your feet are kind of rocking, you know, and you're just sitting there cool, and you just can't stand still or something like that. Sometimes we just have to play some music, you know, whether we've studied or not. We just pick up an instrument, you know, like, and just trying to get down with the new.
What's up? You ran out. Leah?
Hi.
Hey. I'm just tidying up. Oh yeah, pick up your shit. I got you. I'll take the car.
Hi. How are you?
Just about to take off. I turned my living room to an Airbnb.
Is there an Airbnb in there right now?
No, my brother. Yeah, there's one, but he's not here. Hey there.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Timmy.
Leah, nice to meet you. You guys are starring as
I already told him if you wanted a job at the public radio station, he can hit you up. He used to work in public radio.
Are you looking for one?
I mean, I'm always looking for a job. No.
So maybe what kind of job are you looking for? Public radio is one of the most, like the highest ratio of competitive to get there and badly
Oh,
paying.
yeah.
So I don't know. It's like,
I know.
It's like a lot of people are clamoring to be underpaid there.
Claiming to be underpaid.
Yeah. Where can I hang this?
Over here, I got you. I got you. We'll put it in.
Yeah, I used
I'm
to
cool.
I went in one year. I worked at WMR.
Oh, nice. What year?
I was there from 98.
Oh, nice.
I
No. He's younger. He had graduated like 2014. I guess he was program director of WMR.
Awesome. Yeah, we have some alumni who go to work with WMIC.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was working for a while back. I mean, I've been out of college for a while. So.
Yeah, no doubt. Nice.
So
What's going on there?
I'm a kids driver.
Oh,
I have
cool.
like cast away all my computer. I got my master's in interaction design at NYU. I was doing web development for like 6 years. I'm taking a break from computers. I think like big truck.
Sounds like you're serving friends in the family.
Oh, how do you know Chaz?
We met during that.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So that was back when I was living in the city.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I mean, I'm not looking for something, but
Yeah, no.
but I did work in radio for a while, and I kind of miss it. I miss doing that talking. Having people listen to me.
Yeah, I'm not on air talent as of now, but
As of now, huh?
Yeah.
There might be
But-
anything in the future.
well, I mean, the future is broadly unwritten. if there's anything we know by now, it's that. So.
And what city do you live?
I live in Crown Heights in Brooklyn.
Cool. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Toronto.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, but I've lived in these parts for almost 20 years.
Cool. So you're basically. You want
Yeah.
to see yourself?
Yes, please.
Well, Leah, I hate to, run, but I gotta run.
Okay, well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
I'm gonna let you let me go. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna let you let me go. That's for, I don't know if you saw Pee Wee Herman, the new movie.
No, I did not.
That's from his new movie.
Who's old? You're older.
I love that question.
See,
I
no, but she
love
said you're
that
older. She said you're older, though,
question.
but
But she led with who's older.
My brother,
and
he
I
loves
love
it when
that.
people think that I'm older.
Well, no,
I
because you seem older, but I can do quick math. So.
I just
Yeah.
love the ambiguity, that there might be some ambiguity about who's older.
He looks older.
Oh my God! How much older are you?
He's like
I'm just
20
years
years
older.
Oh, no, because in my family, I'm the second of 4, and people frequently think I'm the youngest.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, they definitely think that my younger brother's older than I am. So
okay.
I understand how these things get mixed up over time. Yeah.
You're very serious.
Or people think that I'm like the same age as my youngest brother, who's 7 years younger than me. So yeah, they're like, "Are you guys twins?" It's like, no.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like, get out of here, Timmy. You have to go somewhere, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna check my hair real fast.
Okay. Looks great.
All right, so I'm gonna stay with James, and then I'll be back tomorrow.
You're staying here tomorrow? Michelle said she's going to be about 6.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll be here around then. I'll definitely make sure. I'll be here sooner. I'll check in with you tomorrow morning, okay?
It was a pleasure meeting you.
All right, bye, Shazzy.
Then we watched Fuko together.
Shaz, bear with me for 1 second. I'm just kidding.
You were just going to you could, if you need you could go into the office and hang out.
Yeah, I'm getting some text messages that I want to like read. Okay.
It's a chill spot.
And I'll show you the Airbnb later.
Oh, cool.
See
Well,
that? It's got a good vibe to it. Here, let me put
yeah,
the
I
lid
mean,
down.
you've rearranged things. You're
Yes.
constantly
Always. Here we go. So
optimizing.
the couch is the comfy spot.
Yeah. Okay,
This
so
has
let me.
the best energy of the
Oh
apartment.
yeah, this is wonderful. Yeah, let me just read this so that I can clear myself of this like need to be in this communication. Hello.
Hey, what's up, man?
Good, how are you? Were you guys reviewing another movie?
Oh yeah, me and my brother were. Why did you hear us?
Yeah, because I never know if I can say hi or not.
Whenever you want, man.
No,
I'll
no.
let me tell you. But then you're like, do I want to be in the video?
No, I realized the time.
You know that movie Coco?
No,
It's this Disney movie about Mexican culture.
just come out.
A couple months ago. And so I watched it with him and then we talked about it. And it was really fun. You go out in shorts?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't really feel the cold unless it's in my neck.
Yeah, me neither. On the side one, yeah. Keep your chest warm, you usually do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then I have my friend Leah over right now when we're talking. But we're not. There's no video.
Okay, that's cool.
I did this one, so the last one I looked at it and I was like, fuck, it's all dark. So this one was in the daylight. So see, I'm getting better already.
Oh yeah, so you got like better lighting.
Yeah. And then the next thing I need better mic support. So this one was good, I think, because since he's so smart, having him and you talk about movies more standard. I think this one is gonna look a lot more normal.
I think like 2 eyes see more than 4.
Because then we have a dialogue back and forth. And it's not just me saying, no, blah, 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 blah. Actually, maybe you started giving me the idea when you came in. I was like, all right, this discussion's done.
No, it sounded good.
Okay, yeah. I give him some coffee too. You have to load people up with coffee.
Sorry, I'm just a little annoyed by an intense chain right now, so I'm just trying to. No, yeah, I'm just trying to clear myself of it. Where's your car?
Through the first door.
Room here.
No.
That's the bedroom. Wait, room here. Hey,
I'll explain.
Hi. Okay, so somebody's in here. Okay.
Yeah, the houses are everything here.
Oh, do you use that?
No, I just came up.
Okay, yeah.
What is my favorite? Just hanging.
I'm just gonna use the bathroom. Thanks.
Perfect. She's just my friend.
Is it okay if I take a shower now?
Walking out of the kitchen.
No, that's fine. No, you know you can be here. I was
Yeah, you're a little comfortable.
I was asked because I know maybe you.
You know, I used to not even have all this, and this is all the open, and the girls got mad. I used to have a shower curtain.
No. I was maybe too much for me.
Yeah, right, exactly.
No, if you're gonna have a hostel, I guess some people will.
I wanted it where you try to make people like explore their comfort level, but then the girls were like, no, but we don't feel comfortable. And I was like, that was the whole point. It's an experiment in comfort. Where they're like, you're gonna get a lot of complaints.
Yeah, if you have a hostel, I guess a lot of people will.
I like the whole idea of forcing people, but I trust them.
No, I agree. Completely agree.
But if I'm way over here on the spectrum, I have to allow for other people to do their
Exactly. It's like you can't force. Kind of.
imagine. Why don't all sinks work that way? Oh, fine. I won't. Should I close the door?
Yeah.
I mean, well, I just don't know how.
Oh, I got it. The middle lock. Lock the middle lock. My apartment is a very Shaz apartment.
Oh, there's somebody on your bed?
That's not my bed.
That's not your bed anymore.
Yeah, no, I have some friends. I rented out. Or gave
Wait,
my...
but where do you sleep?
Okay, sure.
I just don't want to go into people's spaces
Office,
right now.
office is pretty safe.
Okay.
This is like the hostel room.
This is a hostel.
Yeah.
So,
You can always go into the hostel too.
So Leah, if you ever want to spend the night at my place, now you can, because since I have a hostel, like my brother, he came here with a friend. I always can entertain with no notice. Just throw you on a bed. Isn't that great?
So how many people do you have here at a time?
Up to 4 right now. I have one. I have another guy coming tonight, and my brother's staying on one side of the bedroom. Isn't that cool? So I'm gonna tell all my friends, if you ever want to stay in the village, and I only charge them $40, $50 for like 3 friends. So if you ever want to crash in the city, it's a very
I work 2 blocks from here.
it's a very no obligation crash pad in the village. And this place has a really cool energy in it now. Like he's in the king's quarters. This is like king's quarters, and he's in the king's throne. So like sitting there, you can check this out. You can talk to like 20 people in this room. You can like actually have like so many people have a great conversation.
Well, that's actually really interesting. You've expanded the real estate significantly.
Get on there. You feel really great having a conversation in here. It's fucking like I
Do you mind that we're up your shit? Yeah.
I play music in here. I haven't done a big mushroom trip. I want to like have people tripping balls in this room. Isn't it comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
And now we can have people under you. I can have 2 people up there, 2 people down there. We can really have 10 people with comfort.
Uh-huh.
And then the sunlight's amazing here.
Is it? Yeah, I imagine.
And these are all my favorite books.
You have very high ceilings.
You know, like, those aren't, I'm not rich enough to take away yet, but I'm gonna have a nice little bar up there. I have music for them if they want to put on music with that. You can spend like a weekend here just fucking fine. This could be like a retreat. That's what, I'll explain to you why I built all this. Like I was feeling really down, and then I just like, it's like, let me change. This room had a couch and a TV, I mean my energy. And now it has a circulating hostel energy, which is like, Thomas is really cool. I've had such
How long are
amazing.
you here, Thomas?
Like Sunday morning.
I think about a week now.
But I go here this Friday.
We've been having some amazing conversations. Everyone here is like
So much.
inspiring. It's even
Leah's she's one of the most inspiring people I know too.
Shaz.
You are. We've had some like
So this.
I turned that into a closet. But the office.
And how were you able to?
Bathroom's on the other side.
Was that your closet before? So how were you able to capture that real estate? The bathroom, the outside.
It was open inside. You would go to the closet in my office to get to it.
Oh, so
Because
you
they tore down
just.
the wall, so I closed that closet. All of the bathrooms on this floor.
Wait, did this used to be your bedroom?
You're like Alice through the looking glass right now.
No, this used to be your bedroom.
No,
No, because that was your office.
I'll show you.
This was your bedroom. I do feel like Alice in the Looking Glass because you've done so many similar things. Like you painted the chalkboard. The chalkboard was somewhere else. No, you, right? Am I wrong?
We should hang out. We should hang out for a while.
Well, just don't block my number and then we can.
I blocked everyone. I was on my. I was on an energy fast.
It's okay. I mean, it's fine.
I was on an energy fast.
I have tolerance for these things. But you blocked me. Let's be real about what happened.
She didn't even know.
No, of course I noticed. My text messages to you turned green. Did you think that I didn't know what had happened?
They're still triggering me. Now I don't even know.
No, but it was very clear what happened there.
holla.
Which is interesting because it actually like you know, people think of like you block somebody if they're like stalking you, but this was like you blocking me.
You're stalking me a little bit.
No, I wasn't.
Little baby stalking. Minor stalking.
No, that is. I could show you the text messages.
That is my
factually incorrect.
That is my I am sticking with that. No, I'm just joking.
Wow,
Okay,
but it inspired me to think about like blocking as a tool.
Yeah.
I haven't done it. It feels a little harsh for me still, but like there was somebody who was like getting under my skin and like wasn't doing any
You
like.
blocked him?
No, but I've been seriously considering it, and I'm like, it's such a radical thing to do.
I've blocked like 5 people. I block people on a consistent basis.
I know. Well, I know. You're the only person who's ever blocked me.
Check this. So like the closet, bathroom used to go through there.
Yeah, you see, I blocked everyone. Just went from just became I blocked 5 people.
Oh yeah, right. No.
Yeah, I know, and it obviously happened right after we hung out. So let's not be silly.
You have the ability to distract me a lot. So,
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But
Sorry, we have to go through some sort of reckoning.
well.
You can't just like, you know.
Well, some people can, but in your personal narrative, you're important enough to deserve an explanation. But some people could just be like, it's just you being you.
No. I generally
You're
feel
like,
that
I'm
way.
Leah. I need some sort of explanation.
No. I mean, I'm like, cool, let's hang now. But
Yeah.
I'm like, also, you know.
Yeah, all my friends need to, like, since, like, I go up and down, like, most of the people I hang with, I don't take things personally because, you know, you lash out and shit.
Yeah.
And when I say you, I mean me. But, like, this closet,
What is this?
you used to go through this
Oh,
office.
it's turkey.
Right? You just meat, because, like, I figured cheese, meat, and vegetables, and then the seasoning's amazing. This is more like only a stoner can appreciate it, because, like, if you're high right now, there's so many different flavors going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I find. The more I get older in the stoner, the more I treat myself when I'm high. And I'm not even high right now, but, like, I have this shit on hand, so when I want to just sit there and read.
Okay,
But,
so this is your office.
this desk used to be over here,
Yeah.
and then the used to walk around the desk to get to the bathroom. Bathrooms have always been in the hallway because this is an old village apartment,
Mm-hmm.
and all the plumbing's in the middle of the building.
Okay.
And that's also why my shower's off the kitchen, because the shower's running off the kitchen sink
Yeah.
water, and then this is running off of the plumbing's all in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
This apartment's lucky because they tore down this wall, so you could go through the closet in order to get over there. In December, I did like a little energy fast where I was like, I'm not happy. I could just really notice my life isn't tracking, and I get really sensitive around the holidays, and then that's 3 months before my birthday in March. And I was like, fuck, am I gonna... And I started reviewing my notes, and then like after a couple days, turned into a couple weeks, I was like, well, fuck, I guess I'm just doing a whole review of my life. I've been meaning to do it. And then that's when, at the end of all that, and then I blocked you, like just pushed out all the energy, stopped picking up real estate calls.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of all that, my friend was like, you should probably get back to work, because I've seen you depressed when you're broke and when you're not broke, and being depressed, but like not broke is one thing, but when you're broke, you have to make money.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right. And then I made a quick $6,000 in like 3 days. I was like, all right, that's a sign like real estate is really good to me. Like I could go
Yeah, you
fucking
can go
5
back to
days
it.
without anything, and then I make as much money as a normal minimum wage job would be like 3 months. So I was like, appreciate it. But then, but I was still in this headspace where I'm like, I'm not happy. So then my friend Davina was like,
I know Davina.
yeah, she stayed here before. She has some issues she's working out, and
Yeah.
so she was like, I'm coming back to the city. And I was like, well, as long as your head's right, of course. And I was like, I need creative energy. She's a musician, and we've been playing music and recording it, and like I have a mic there that I drop, and I put the mic in the middle of the room, and then we just all play music. We've had some good jams.
Yeah.
And then I had this girl that I was dating, Yaya, which we're not really dating, but like she goes to a dance school, Martha Green in the Village, which is like a really good dance school. And so she was stressed out in Queens, and I was like, come fucking in. So I was like, live in my room. So her and Davina live in my room, and she pays me rent. And I turned this into an Airbnb. I was trying to change up
Where do
my...
you sleep?
On the couch. Sometimes I sleep with Yaya, but we're not really doing that right now. So like, we've evolved to like me either sleeping on the couch or a hostel bed, which I'd rather like the hostel bed, because with the strangers in your apartment, until I get feel for them, I'd rather like be there anyways. That's just my natural. Like in Occupy Wall Street, I'd walk around at night. Some people I naturally like to like keep an eye on things. So like, I've had some dudes here. He's like the third or fourth, but like, I'd rather be in that room when there's other people in that room anyways.
So
I'm probably gonna rent it to 1 or 2 people and then grab one of the beds, and they're super comfy.
So how do you use Airbnb?
Yeah, and then Craigslist and Airbnb. I haven't paid rent in like 4 months.
Yeah. So what are the numbers?
Paid all my bills and
They're crashing.
Yeah, and they're giving me a little bit of money.
They're giving you a
And
little
Davina is doing like a work thing where she does all the beds and the laundry, clean the bathroom today.
Yeah.
Yaya pays me, but she only pays me like $400, and I make enough for that for groceries. Airbnb is gonna give me $1 to $2 grand a month. I make enough to live without paying any of my bills, which I pretty much go
How much
anyways.
is your rent on this place?
$2,600. So like if I'm lucky, I can break even, but then I'll have grocery money.
I
Like
guess
this isn't a way.
$600's pretty cheap for here for this place, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Is
But
it? I mean, I don't know.
this should be like $3 grand if she took care of it. Like there's lead paint and shit. There's like the city came in and inspected it and was like, yeah, they haven't fixed any violations since like the 70s. Like
Well, but this is a 3-bedroom. Is it a 3? No, it's a 2-bedroom with a living room.
it could be called a 2-bedroom. This could be called the 2nd bedroom. 2-bedroom with a living room flex 3. You could call it that because each of these rooms have different windows. Yeah, 2-bedroom flex 3. They should be able to get like $2,800 for it to $3,200. In the current condition, they could get $2,800 to $3,000.
Because the market's soft, or
Just from the square feet. I mean, I'm thinking in the top of my head, you don't really get on Thompson. There's shitty 2-bedrooms that go for $3,000 to $3,400, better finish. And then on another part of Thompson, so that's a couple blocks away.
what's like a decent 1-bedroom?
In the village, $3,000, $3,200. I mean, because once you start to get to like that 3,000 2-bedroom, making compromises, high floor walk up, low level finish, shitty landlord. That's what I have. So that's why she could probably get 28, 26 is pretty good. For a 1-bed, 26 is about right.
Wait, high floor walk up. What was the second thing you said before?
Low level finish.
What's
All
low-
these little
oh.
compromises. Like this,
Low level finish, like just the finish.
not just that, they keep the trash in the common areas. So it smells like trash when you walk in.
Mhm.
They painted our common areas instead of redoing them. They're not going to put any money into this building. They're just
Mhm.
letting it ride. So low level finish is like bad landlord. Like this
Yeah.
landlord isn't going to fucking do anything for us.
Yeah.
And then there's also some other shady shit going on.
Mhm.
But so I own like 10 grand so far. Fucking I just stopped paying all my bills in December, and then I had like 15 grand in credit card debt, and then like I've called my student loans and taxes because they never forget. But like everyone else, I just let slide.
Mhm.
And they're the nicest. I told them I'll start paying you in April, and they're like,
Yeah.
all right, thanks for calling. But everyone else is like, I just had like a little existential crisis. Cause like this is my social, right? So like I wanted to start my blog and I was like, well fuck. I guess I wasn't sure what I was doing until I do it, but like I guess I was just cashing on my credit before other people do, because once I start my blog and if I get popular, my credit's gonna go to shit anyway, so might as well just like I worked for 5 years really hard to get my credit back into the 700s and do
Yeah.
everything right. And I guess I kinda like had like why am I doing this struggle? And so I stopped. And then I reasserted myself, and then like I went through all my Occupy videos. Like you don't even realize what I have. I have the best documentary footage on Occupy, I think, as of now. Like out of those 17 hours I took over one day talking to so many different factions of the movement,
Mhm.
it looks really cool. I look back on it, and plus I have all the police footage from the raid.
Yeah.
I
That's
have all
pretty
this
good.
crazy. So
Yeah.
that's one project. I got this is a writing project.
Yeah, what's this?
That's what this room's supposed to be. Help me with my creative projects. So that I'm just realized I'll probably only start working on that once I have to take it off. So when I'm moving, I'll probably be like, all right, now I have to address that. I put it up there in the summer. So this is what, like, I lived in this apartment a year and I haven't created any good art, and this is supposed to be my like historic place. Like this is a place where good art comes from. So I was coming up in December and I had to renew this place in January, and I was like, what the fuck am I not? So this was my attempt in the summer. Because I made a lot of money. You visited me in the summer. I haven't
You
been
had your
able to.
sweet thing upstairs.
Yeah.
That was the shit. That was really cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna redo it. So
Yeah.
I haven't been able to create the stability and the time to finish a creative project, and so.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just, I'm very much with you. But, and heads up, I figured out my Saturday schedule in more detail, and turns out I'm free all afternoon.
Okay.
Okay, that's cool.
But that was my attempt at a creative project, which exceeded my temporal limitations, like all of them. So I left it up there. But I'm gonna come back to it.
Wait, that's a writing project?
It's a collection of 9 short stories
Mm.
set in different places in New York City with different characters. So this one is the Upper West Side professor who fucking has an affair with a student. Orange Chicken is a Chinatown girl. And then there's this really cool Confucian statue that talks about society down there. So there's already all of them are like plotted out in my mind. And then there's like, yellow was what was that? Greenwich Village Fall. I guess that was a writer. And then Green Fund was a really cool one, Upper East Side, hedge fund, private equity guy. And then you have a Jamaican nanny who goes and rescues a child who runs away from the holiday party after Tony penthouse apartment, and she gets lost in Central Park, and then the nanny saves her. You know, a little like, I think it's hilarious that these little white girls are being raised by fucking like Caribbean women. So and then the green phone is the money phone. These guys, these like baller guys, like pick up a stack of money and say they're on the money phone. So all these have like these images that I feel like I could expand into a story. I'm in there somewhere. The agent right there, Blue Balls, Greenwich Village agent. That's probably gonna be me, the aspiring artist. And then there's like Hell's Kitchen gay dancer, his story, fucking financial district startup guy, the brown eye. So that was a little bit about misogyny and startup culture. Gray Skies was gonna be East Village artist living with a junkie girlfriend. And then All Clear was gonna be the cabbie going between the airports, and that's how you leave the city.
What's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Different. That's just
Subways. The third is the subway.
Oh yeah. The third is exactly.
The fourth is the neighborhood.
So,
the fifth is the character.
Exactly.
The second is the season.
Yeah,
the
there you
first
go.
is what?
A color scheme that I might keep or I might not. It might be too cheesy, and that's why I put the colors on there.
This is really good.
Just a mnemonic device to remember an art piece that I can like literally
This
every
is
time
really
I look
good.
up at that, I know exactly where I was when I paused it.
I love the
created.
way that you have.
I'm good at talking to my creative side of my brain.
Yeah, I
Like, look
love
at this.
your
This is a
schema
calendar I
for
made,
this.
a 10 by 10 calendar, and then I made my own little ideographs for the days of the week. It's good to practice creativity.
It's so good. I'm really struck by this. I'm inspired.
You're a creative person. Yeah.
I don't have good tools for creative outlay.
You know, the great thing about this is visually it makes me feel calm.
This
So
is
regardless-
amazing.
regardless
Visually, this
of-
is gorgeous.
Yeah, regardless of whether I finish the art project, every time I look at it, I feel like it's holding space in the wall really well.
This feels like the product of an organized mind.
No, I'm pretty. Yeah, that's what I have, organized chaos. So all of these are projects. This is a project I'm working on. This behind it, I have like the type of like schizophrenic, crazy chaos. But I get so pissed if someone moves something because it's like I stopped everything for a reason. That's the only wall that's not really organized, and even then, only the middle shelves are not organized, and then the books actually are organized by category. But everything else, like these are books I pulled out because I'm working on them right now. Kurt Vonnegut short stories. Like I could tell you where everything is and why everything is there. I was breaking down content. Oh, and this is really cool. This blackboard. So while we're talking, it's so awesome to have stuff to sketch out your ideas.
This is a really good. I think you do such a nice job with space jazz.
You haven't even seen my fucking rolling corner. We have a party right here. Roll me a joint. Boom. My joint rolling station. Doesn't that make you feel like an adult when you have a fucking adult place where your drugs? And all my psychedelics go in the owl. Because the owl of wisdom flies at night. So in here is usually where I keep all my mushrooms, all my cool glass jars. And this one. I did actually pack a rooster's ass full of mushrooms. Because when you take them, it just feels fucking awesome. You're like, I'm going on the trip. Ah. And then I top it with Terrence McKenna's book. And then this has all my paper shit, so whenever I'm like doing weed. It's a very organized, like even the drugs, this is a drug corner. So when I do my psychedelics, you light the fucking
Oh my god, I have to say, I like,
Oh, when you're smoking a joint, you put it out on my girl's tits. She's like my buddy. She's my smoking buddy.
Yeah.
I've had her for a couple of years, so now every time I smoke with her, you put more and more energy into, and then it has like all of your Kama Sutra positions on the side.
Shaz, I really...
Good energy. I'm creating a life.
I've been really struggling.
And have acid in it.
Since
So
like...
it's absorbing or...
Since the fall, I've been struggling with this sense of like how to unstuck myself.
Maybe you needed some of my energy.
Well,
you need some Shaz in your
somebody
life.
was withholding. But anyway, no, and I want to talk about this. Let me talk about myself for a second. So I started thinking seriously about moving, and I started just like looking at apartments. But like so many apartments just don't make sense. They're like, I have such a good deal right now, and I live with my friends, and I like my friends, but like, and I have enough personal.
Same place I dropped you off at.
The same place that you dropped me off at. I've been there for like over 3 years, which is a long time to be in a place. And you know, one of my roommates has just like a lot of stuff, and I feel like the common room is filled with her stuff, and I just like really want to be able to cultivate more space and have my own space to cultivate. And then, you know, I keep just like backing down from it because I look at places and everything's so expensive, and like it's just like, God, I pay
Moving is
$800.
psychically draining too.
I pay $800 a month in rent.
For
And
men, like for New York, to live in New York. Even
and
in
I have-
Brooklyn, it's hard to find $500 to $800 good
I
places.
know, and I have a really I'm good. Thank you very much. Oh, what is that? Oh, nice. Is that cinnamon?
It's chili powder. It's
Chili
really good.
powder. Great.
Got Lucas salt, limey chili powder type.
Yeah. And so I've been just like struggling because I've had this sense that like space is the key to like shifting space is the key to breaking out of this phase of my life, which I like really feel. I want to move forward into something.
You need space
and
to
the
create
easiest
something.
And the easiest way to think about moving forward, frankly, is like looking for somebody to have children with, and just being like, I guess I'll just have babies, because I do want to have children. So then I start just being like, okay, the thing that lies between what?
Do you want to have babies with me?
Do you think? Are you
genius babies?
Are you ready? Do you want to have babies now?
Let's just look at it genetically. We'd have some like awesome little super kids.
That's true. We could talk about it. I don't know. I feel like you're a little harsh for me. You're a little dramatic.
No, but think about how creative and artistic you're going to be.
I understand that, but like I require a certain kind of stability that I think that you would.
Oh, I don't know if we could be in a relationship. No, it'd just be the kids.
Yeah, no. I'd like a family, really.
Okay.
So yeah, no. A lot of people want to give me their sperm, but that's not really.
that's the
A lot of frankly,
the
a lot
curse
of people
womanhood.
want to like have children with me, but anyway.
I would date you, Leah.
I know
That's a
you
whole
would,
other
but we don't have
conversation.
to talk about that right now. That's how we break things. Let's hold off for a second.
You brought up kids.
I'm talking about my life.
That is true. Sorry about you. Got you.
So I'm talking about my life. So like, I'm like, oh, I guess that's what I need to break forward. But really, and I'm like, okay, why don't I just like not? And I can just stay in my place until I find partnership, and then I can just like, at some point, my roommate.
Yeah, you work on dating people before you talk about babies. Don't lead with
No.
that.
I am obviously
Are
trying.
you dating him?
Shaz, we'll talk about my love life in a moment.
You just talked about babies. I'm just backing
No,
it
no,
up.
no,
I'm
no.
trying to back it down from babies.
No.
I'm like-
I'm trying to tell a different story.
Oh.
So I've kind of had this sense of just like so the roommate who hoards, who's like the other person on the lease, the total rent for my place is $2,100, and it's a 3-bedroom, and my room is huge, and one room, and when I say huge, it's like the size of your apartment, and one is like medium.
I ain't 100 for like fucking 1,000 square feet or something.
No, it's not 1,000 square
600,
feet. It's not.
700. Yeah.
It's my room is like 20 by 12 or something.
Yeah, that's still really big.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's like the size of these 2 rooms. A little bit wider.
It was bigger. Anyway, I can show you a picture, but anyway, you can come over sometime. So like that roommate is taking a home buying class, a first time home buyers class.
Okay.
So I'm just like, oh, I should like really the responsible thing to do is just wait it out. But I look at this and I'm like, no, I really want to be cultivating my own space.
I've been super creatively productive since December. Since I stopped working, I've been like creating so much shit.
Yeah, and like I don't know how to. Well, the problem. I mean, work is a total energetic suck for me, but
Well, you have savings, don't you?
but they're just growing. Although I just put my money in the stock market, I have to take it out because it makes me too nervous. So it's gonna collapse.
Don't participate in violent systems.
Oh well,
Or systems you don't understand.
nobody understands what's happening right now.
Then
I just
don't
want people to buy
participate,
assets
yeah.
overvalued. I know. I'm gonna take my money in the stock market.
You ever dabble in Bitcoin?
I mean, I obviously had a Bitcoin. I sold it, but
No. A Bitcoin? You're so cute. I had a Bitcoin. I sold it.
oh, I mean, I sold it when it was worth a lot of money.
Well, I won't ask too many questions.
I was gonna talk about crypto. I went out for drinks 2 nights ago with a friend who just became a millionaire off crypto. Anyway, yeah, I'm sooner actually. He's starting to take people's money, as like a crypto hedge fund.
Oh, yeah?
I think I might just give some of my money to him.
Yeah. Because you might be able to understand that more than the stock market.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, the stock market makes no sense, and it's just whatever. I don't want to talk about the stock market, but anyway, the point is, yes, I am more financially stable than I've ever been in my entire life, and I'm making money quickly. I don't want to quit my job because my job is part of where I get my sense of well-being right now, and I'm like really mindful of that.
Yeah, that's true.
But like I like my job, and my job facilitates creative production,
I
and
remember
it'll.
when you were getting into your job.
Yeah, no, and I've like really had a meteoric rise there, and
You're super stoked about even being able to do it, saying that maybe I can do it, and now you're doing it. Like,
yeah, no, it really worked. And now, like, I'm working on a crypto hour, which is really cool. The idea that, like, I'm going to be able to do an hour on not like public radio, 450 stations around the country, almost 2 million listeners are going to hear like what I think, like my take on political economy of crypto. So, like, I feel really lucky in that sense.
My ex-roommate, is one of the foremost authorities on crypto.
Foremost authorities. I mean, it's bullshit. Nobody's the foremost authority.
All right. I don't give her the connection.
Yeah.
But like,
One of the crazy things about my job.
ex-treasury chiefs are like in his Rolodex. Like people are contacting this company.
What's his name?
Oh.
I mean, I have to tell you, the one thing about my job is everybody answers my calls.
Really?
It's just
He's
access is not an issue for me.
He's contracted by banks to get into crypto.
Yeah,
like,
no,
he started a blog that turned into a startup, and it went through Y Combinator.
Yeah.
And like Andreessen invested in this company. Like,
Yeah.
they're pretty good. They're one of the best people positioned to be.
Yeah.
Like, he's become an expert just by. It's really interesting.
I remember meeting him. He's blonde.
Oh, really, man? Maybe.
How did I just do that?
Well.
Magic.
Fuck it, you figured he was a white guy, and then he's probably blonde. You just
No, I met
guessed.
him. But
Short guy tall guy.
I just met him in your old place,
Yeah,
and you're
probably.
like, oh, you should talk to him about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But anyway,
If I'd invested in Bitcoin back then, I would.
if all of us,
Yeah, right. I don't want to talk about.
But also, like, just so you know, nobody was on that shit. Like, because Devin, he was at the first Bitcoin conference. We went up to New Hampshire. I learned about Bitcoin at the same time as a lot of these early guys did.
Does that make you feel kind of like, that makes me feel like if life was about money, I have the chance to be a billionaire multiple times over if I just taken one of those guys' advice. So obviously life shouldn't be about money, because if it is, it'll drive you crazy.
So I experienced what I experienced this fall, just having one Bitcoin and watching it, and then panicking, and then investing a little bit more money, and blah blah blah, and like I experienced feelings I've never had before about anxiety, and I'm just like, I've lived my whole life to not worry about money like this. And no amount of money is worth feeling this way. Exactly. Like the anxiety of not being able to sleep at night, like really, like, because those charts are crazy. Yeah. So
I go into the threads; these guys are going crazy.
I know it is crippling, and I don't have the constitution for it.
Real estate gets like that. Where like I couldn't sleep that night trying to make commissions that you have 3 clients, none of them go through. You can't.
I mean, stress is stress, but the volatility of gambling is just a whole nother ball of wax.
Well, commission-only industries are that to a point, but they're not as volatile as markets.
They're not
and
as
markets aren't as volatile as crypto markets.
I know.
So crypto markets are one of the most volatile. Well, they're as volatile as any bubble.
Yeah. But anyway,
so you're going to become an expert on. If you get that show, you.
I am an expert. I know a lot. I'm not an expert. I'm not an expert compared to the guys who do this every day.
Where are the coins positioned to compete with Bitcoin? What are the best?
No, I'm not that kind of expert. I mean, I could talk about it, but one thing that happened to me, which I found was interesting, was so I learned about Bitcoin before anybody, or not before most people.
What's the biggest weakness to Bitcoin?
Anonymity and scaling. But anyway, so
energy consumption. No.
The energy outlay is the cost of maintaining the network. I mean, I can get into that if you want to like talk crypto. We can like really talk crypto, but I just want to say something else, which is I think the emotional side of this is a little bit more interesting.
Anonymity, you say, is one of the problems? That's interesting.
It's not anonymous at all. It is the most transparent thing in the world.
Because you can tell through the movement who has it? Or
you can tell through the movement how much money somebody has. You basically, if I pay you money, if I pay you in Bitcoin and I see what wallet it goes to, I can then look into that wallet and see how much money's in that wallet. Nobody wants to be so naked.
No, you just get multiple wallets and then you diffuse.
But that's people.
I've heard about this.
No,
before.
I know.
No, once it lands in that, and then I just make it disappear into tons of different wallets, and you don't know where those accumulate later on. Can't you just diffuse it?
You can watch everything. You can track every coin through the network.
Can't trick you through some sort of like.
The chain is.
So no matter.
A transparent, unbreakable ledger. That's the point.
If I tell you I make a computer in order to fuse it into untraceable amounts, you'll be like, I'll make a computer to track you. Huh.
Damn straight. Anyway,
you could wash it.
You can wash it into Monero or something like that.
Yeah,
You can put
wash
it
into other coins,
Yeah,
wash it
yeah.
into the real world, and then back into crypto.
Right, you can do that, and so that's. But it's still a little.
That's
That is a.
interesting. It's more complex than it lends itself.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
one of the primary uses of Monero, which is one of the anonymity coins, is actually to launder Bitcoin, because Bitcoin.
Can I get a word on the lavender tea though? It's pretty dope, right?
What?
Lavender tea.
Oh, it's fab.
Yeah.
But anyway, I want to tell you something. So, I learned about Bitcoin so early, and I didn't invest. And then I remember 2014 being up at PorcFest, and which is like where all these Bitcoin people are.
PorcFest, is that like that?
That's the New Hampshire thing. It's like the Free State Project New Hampshire stuff. I can tell you all about it. Anarcho-capitalism.
Yeah,
so this is where like a lot of the early Bitcoin stuff happened, and I've been going there for years. Like anyway, so and I was like, Devin, I can't believe we missed Bitcoin. This is 2014. Okay, right? So
you're a culturally important person.
No, I know.
You should get your stories out and blog, or like that radio stuff's good, but you should get your own brand out
I
under
know.
Leah and what she knows
I
and
know.
what she's done in life.
I know. So anyway, so I was like, Dev, I can't believe we missed Bitcoin. Bitcoin at this point is maybe like $700, right? And I'm like, we fucking missed it. Like, right. I was like, we're such fools. He's like, well, I think this Ethereum thing, we're literally hanging out with the founders of Ethereum. It hasn't launched yet,
Wow.
and we're hanging out.
It's one of the ones. I would
we're
say like
in a
Ripple,
motel
Ethereum, the other ones.
Listen to me. So we're like in a motel room with like these Ethereum guys. I'm like, first of all, these guys. This guy's like literally the most offensive person I've ever met. I can't hang out anymore because that's the thing about so many of these people. They're like repulsive, and I've had to like learn a really hard lesson about just because somebody's offensive doesn't mean they're not relevant. Anyway,
well, that's one way to put it. Another way to put it is don't be so judgmental.
Oh no. These, it's not like people who are being like predatory, disgusting, like over sexualizing you while you sit right. Like it's like really. These are
like nerds. Some nerds just aren't.
It's
well socialized.
Sidebar. So anyway, he's like, but I think this Ethereum thing, we might have missed Bitcoin, but this Ethereum thing, don't invest in Ethereum at that point, right? Years pass, so then I'm on the phone with Devin over Thanksgiving. And I'm like, Dev, how the fuck are we not rich off this shit? Like, we have known, okay, we missed Bitcoin, but then Ethereum, how the hell did we not, like, go, we could have each bought, like, $100 or $1,000 worth of Ethereum.
Bitcoin's going to be at 40 grand. You can still get into Bitcoin.
Stop. And I was like, and he's like, yeah, well, I think if I had to call it, I'd say Ripple right now. That's the one to watch. This is November. At that point, Ripple is about 20 cents a coin.
You didn't jump.
A month later, it was, or 2 months later, it was up at $3 a coin.
From what I've known, I would have said that.
So once that happened, I was like, no, there's no, like, I just don't listen. Like it's not for me. This isn't my destiny. And it's like there keep being new opportunities. There will keep being new opportunities. I keep not taking them.
Life's not about trying to make
money.
money.
And it's not about that. And it actually, once that happened, it was like, it became so silly. Like the whole thing, I was just like...
Money's silly and power's silly. Because what I think is, like, power is like, my path with psychedelic drug taking has pretty much shaped all of my interactions with any other power structures because there's such an interesting internal structure. But psychedelics empower your brain. And if you have a unified sense of self, then they empower you and you vibrate like an instrument plucking a string. But if you have cracks in your sense of self, then it'll vibrate those cracks, you shatter against yourself, and you have a freak out. And so anything, once I realized that about drugs, and then I practice it, because that's what's cool about drugs is scientifically you can iterate. So I could think that, and I could take a high dose of psychedelics, and I can actually practice it. And when my high dose of psychedelics don't affect my state of reality, and I'm able to go to parties on 5 grams of mushrooms and interact with so many people, and then smoke weed and do other drugs, and I'm like, I've never been able to do drugs like this. It's like that framework must be correct, or it's doing something to empower me to be able to do things that you can't normally do.
Yeah.
Money does the same thing. Anything empowers you, but if you don't have a unified sense of self, it will empower your self-destructive nature just as much as anything else. So
I mean, they're not the same because like I'm pretty fucking good at taking psychedelics, if I may. And I feel like pretty cored up in a way that like, I like sometimes I'll get maybe post-verbal, but like I just like really hold my shit together and like remain joyful.
Well, it's not just about losing your shit. It's about riding the wave versus being under it.
Oh yeah, no, right. And
And that takes not just control, it takes style, it takes grace, it takes humility, and maybe you have it. We've never tripped.
I know.
We've never tripped
I
together.
have to say, I think one thing about our dynamic is you
Undervalue you?
you just like think you have to explain things to me that I'm good at. Like this is my shit.
Oh,
Like me
we
preaching
have
to
a funny-
others about psychedelics is
We
like
have a funny
my
relationship
shit. Like
where we meet
you-
every couple months. So I like it because now we've woven a long period of time into small meetings. So that's why I'd be like, I met you once when you
I
wanted
know.
to be in public radio. Now you're in public.
I know.
I like that actually because they're little signposts in my life too. Every time I meet with Leah, it's like, it's been a couple months, I need to meet with her again.
Oh, I know.
Just so like it's kind of a nice pattern now, but we can't act like it's a normal relationship. So you can't be like, well, Shaz, you do this or that. We don't have a normal, because we would have to spend consistent time together to have a normal
I mean,
interaction.
we're
There's
a
a lot of us-
we're a novel told in vignettes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of assumptions on both sides to fill in the gaps.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying that like I'm trying to not have assumptions, not to make assumptions about you. I'm just saying
You have
like
to fill in the gaps.
But I'm just flagging something for you, which is like,
Good
hey,
to know.
to move things along
I
for
got it.
us.
You should
Let
go.
me just tell you,
So-
I'm kind of a psychonaut.
Yeah, no, and that's what I pride about myself
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So we have to trip out together eventually. Well, like
Oh my God, it's there's something so
it'll be fun
antagonistic
because we'll
here.
talk. Yeah, but no, not antagonistic. I just love to talk to you while I'm tripping because I already, we have good conversations. But like I think psychedelics empower your brain to think differently, and I think with EKGs and stuff, they see with brains on mushrooms, you're firing more in different parts of your brain. So they empower your cognitive ability. If you can somehow ride it as opposed to being overwhelmed by over sensory, just like being too high. It's just this excess of sensory information, which if you can't contextualize, because I've been too high where like, no matter how strong you are, I couldn't focus on any one person in the airport, any one conversation. I was hearing every conversation
Yeah.
and I looked at a crowd of people and every single face was in focus. It was like, I know exactly what, that extreme showed me what high is.
Yeah. Well, I
Yes.
like taking small amounts of mushrooms.
I wasn't trying to,
Yeah.
that was by accident. I ate too much. It's
I've
like,
been taking these pills. They're amazing. Have you fucked with the pills at all?
mushroom pills?
They're like
And
going
they have
around.
psilocybin in them?
They're amazing. They're amazing because I mean it's like I'd like to start growing them. I just don't have the space for it.
But it increases your cognitive ability. So I was going to relate that to money.
Yeah.
Money increases your ability to execute.
Yeah.
That's all it does. It's
Oh,
now
yeah,
other
just-
people can perform labor for me. I can acquire capital.
Yeah.
So the same thing with the lessons from the psychedelics.
Yeah.
If you're not unified or if you're not able to wield that power, then it can become destructive. The same with money. So that's why money, the life purpose of life, to tie it all back, isn't about money.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to attain power that you can't yield. And that's kind of like a parable throughout like all of human culture.
Yeah.
Make sure that you can yield the power before you attain it, or else it'll be self-destructive to you, or you'll, through benevolence, ruin what was beautiful through your ignorance. And
Yeah.
so
I mean, I have to say, I mean, I don't have a lot of money, but having some money
yeah.
has been phenomenal
Huh?
because it's like even just simple things like taking cars at the end of the night or just like little things that I used to think about being a little bit more generous.
Even out
than
your
you.
life, it smooths out
Just
the
being more generous, not thinking about if I've been paid back for things. It just allows you to like I'm definitely
You're not as angry, you're not as right when you have. a
well,
lot of
I'm
money.
definitely able to be more generous.
We both knew each other when we were both poor.
Yeah, and I'm not like rich, but I'm not broke.
Yeah.
And
New York's a completely different city when you're comfortable.
I mean it's
That's what I realized about real estate. You knew me when I didn't have any.
Yeah. No, I
You
know.
loaned me contacts because I was
No.
blind and I was for a week without seeing. Like, yeah, New York, because that's been my whole path for the last 5 years. What money does to your mental state. And I let go of a lot of anger. I had a lot of like class anger. I just hated anyone who was comfortable. I hated you because you were more comfortable. Not hated you, but I resented you for being more comfortable. Like we'd be protesting like by Wall Street and you guys would go out for beers afterward and I'd be like fucking college kids, beer money, and I was staying in a squat. But then like you realize like you're just angry because you don't have. And once you have, you can like move on. There's other stuff to put your mental resources towards than resentment.
Yeah.
And but so that's why it's a blessing. Like you haven't gotten that Bitcoin rich for a reason, because
Yeah, I know. I mean, who knows what my life would look like if I were just like
you have a
crypto
lot more
rich.
self work to do. I have a lot more self work to do.
What was so horrible about even just this tiny experience of it, I was like, I've become boring,
Exactly.
first of all. And I'm thinking I'm just thinking about this stuff too much. And it's making me a little miserly. It's making me like, I just didn't like the psycho-spiritual effect of it. And again, that's a particular kind of wealth building. Oh my God, I need to get my money out of the stock market like ASAP. I have the weekend. That's what's nice about the stock market. Market fucking closes.
No, I'm surprised you even put it in there with your politics. Like, you can't participate in violent systems.
Oh, fuck. Somebody please do the times for this show.
Because it's not like I'm anti-stock market, but I like to understand stuff before I participate in it. And I'm sure you can put a nice basket full of ethical stocks with ethical, B corporations that have a social good and blah, blah, blah. But, like, it would take effort for me to invest.
Oh, well, I'm invested with somebody.
Yeah.
Somebody just has my money.
But,
I gave my money to
I've
somebody.
never believed in those people who are just like, oh, just put it in, blah, blah, and, close your eyes about it. It's like, no, that's a problem with the world, is we've divorced cause and effect responsibility. Like, this is what it's called, a limited liability corporation. You want to put your money somewhere where it can just grow without consequences of your actions?
Yeah, it's tough when you see that the stock market has grown 300% since 2009.
Depends on what your values are.
No, I'm just saying.
It's not tough if you don't value money.
It's not about valuing money. It's about... I don't value money for its own sake, but like...
What it can afford you.
Yes.
But you have to divorce that from, like... At the same time, I want to take money from a bad source.
No.
Like, in order for me to stay in real estate, I used to be ethically torn until I read one of these books, Nation of Salesmen. Like, I actually view brokering as a noble profession, where, like, the Venetian traders would trade between all the cultures on the Mediterranean, and the brokers are the people who spoke multiple languages and made the peace between the people who would otherwise kill each other. So brokers have an honorable tradition of doing a transaction. They're the trusted party between multiple parties. So a politician's a broker. Any peacemaker's a broker. And once I internalized that, I was like, but then I have to just, so I don't take bad business. When I have a bad vibe about people or their values, I don't take their business. And I'm able to, like, that's what my politics has a sense of, like, it's okay to have a trade. Actually, you should have a trade. Politicians without a trade before they're politicians actually are bad people. Society is filled with people with trades, and then politicians are just people who are on top of their trade, ethical enough to act as political brokers in society. And that's what most of our politicians are, but not good at another trade which they can bring to politics. And that's one of the big problems. And once I realized that, and then you look at Occupy Wall Street and other stuff, all these guys want to be bureaucrats. They don't. I think less bureaucrats, more tradespeople with politics as a side. And technology is helping us do that. Maybe before you needed full-time politicians, but now we might not. We might just need technological interfaces between actual members of society. And we don't actually need bureaucrats that are paid.
Yeah.
That would be like a fucking... that's kind of where we were headed to in Occupy Wall Street. Some people are talking about that. Technological tools for the consensus process and for the... So, I mean, you're kind of like, that's a very similar path. You're thinking about your life and what you're doing and, like, how to take away from, like, take your energy out of systems which aren't feeding you and put it towards, better feedback loops.
I like the idea of cultivating space towards creative. Like, what are you getting
Those
out
are
of
all
this?
Alan Watts right there.
No, what are you getting out of that?
Window? Mirror? That's a great mirror. I love that floating mirror. That's the best way I've divided that space so far. And then I wear that chain, but it broke when I do my mushroom trips. Yeah.
Oh.
Isn't that dope? So I can actually talk to the people in that room, and that's my joint rolling station, because you can hand the joints into the party. I need to have a party here, right?
No, how do you? So you like having the energy of other people around?
That's what I realized. In December, I was unhappy. I started making a couple changes, invited some really good female energy into my life in a non hookup way, but more like comforting way. Balance out, because I have heavy male energy and shit. And these girls know me, so they could keep me in check. And then fucking isn't that dope? My brother gave me those sunglasses. And then and then the people, I think I also need strangers, because I would do my politics with clients, and that's not really good, because these clients usually aren't. But with not poor travelers, but budget hostelers, I've always loved staying in hostels. I always wanted to open a hostel. And then after I did this, it was a Stony idea. And I was like, I want to call it King's Quarters, it'll be dope. And then I did it within a day or two, went to IKEA, dropped out of that $6,000 that I made. When I was coming out of my depression funk, I went to IKEA, and within 2 days I had that up and running for $2,000. And fucking, I was like, you know what? I didn't even realize it. I just need people to talk to. And when I'm doing my politics, I'm working on my blog. I talk to the people and I practice. I had a guy who fucking was a Trump supporter, a bro from Orange County, and we talked politics. And I was able to shut him down on his bullshit. And I just love practicing my ideology with other people. I'm a conversationalist.
Does your is your landlord aware of the situation?
I am in trouble.
What?
If I do not pull it out financially, I am setting myself up. I put myself in a crucible of sorts. I've allowed my bills to pile up. My car was taken away by the bank. I have $15,000 in credit card debt. The IRS is never gonna. I have about $100,000. I have about $100,000 in debt.
I thought you were making so much money.
I was, but if you make money without putting it away in this society, you actually lose money.
You didn't do anything with it.
Except spend it.
Yeah.
And so it's just a funny thing about like our society is like I see it with clients all the time. I see people making $250,000 and owing $500,000.
Yeah.
I probably made over $500,000 at least. Never saved any of it, and so now I owe $100,000.
Wow.
Isn't that fun? But I'm gonna make so I have a book project. I want to sell, and I want to make $250,000 off of it. And I have some other real estate will always my little saving grace is that I'm headed into my busy season.
Mm-hmm.
So even if all my creative projects crap out around April, I'm just gonna have to put my head down and work really hard to dig myself out of this hole. But
Well, what about
but the landlord should start evicting me anytime now.
Does she know? Or is she catching wind?
No, but just from not paying rent since December.
Oh, you're not paying rent.
No. So I owe her by April 1st. I'll owe her December, January, February, March. By March 1st, I'll have owed her about $10,200.
Is she on you about it?
I mean, what can you do? I know the rules. They know the rules. I tell them when they call. I'm like, you can start the paperwork if you want. They're like, well, do you think you'll have by next month? I'll try. I won't be offended if you start the eviction paperwork though. I know that once they start the paperwork, it'll be another 6 to 8 months. So I'm like, I won't be offended. I think I'm gonna. My worst case scenario, by April, all my writing projects crap out, and no one has any appetite for my blog. I'll put my head down and make 10 to 20 grand a month for like 3 or 4 months. I've done it before. No matter if that's our busiest time. And
what happens if you get evicted? Do you still have a bill that you owe at the end of the day?
yeah, it probably can be a settlement against you. They can sue you, but I wouldn't do that. I'm like an honorable person. I pay my debts. I just treat it like a corporation. Fucking corporations restructure all the time. I'll be damned if we live in a society that.
So you'll pay the rent.
No, it's not that big of a deal. Money's not that important. It's not that hard to get money in life.
No.
I'm just trying to get it through my creative means. But 10 grand to me isn't that, because I've had it before. Once you've had 10 grand in your hand, it's not that big of a deal. It's like a month worth of headaches. I just don't want to put my head into that real estate mode. I have a client right now that's worth 20 grand to me if I close her.
Mm-hmm.
I just it takes away from my creative endeavors. It's such a different part of my brain.
Yeah.
I literally have shut that down. I worked maybe a week or two out of the last 3 months. A couple days here, a couple days there. Just enough to keep the lights on. And then I did the Airbnb so that way I could get my grocery money without having to, this gives me a couple hundred a week, just enough to get by without paying my fancy Equinox gym membership, which is $200 a month. But they have a pool.
Mm-hmm.
You have to work out around fancy people sometimes. That's like my spoiling. My treat is when you go to the gym and work out around fucking little young snobs.
What do you want?
What do I want? I want to, it's pretty easy, people who, so let me try to articulate it well. I want to have a life filled with, I want to execute on creative projects that are a full measure of my potential, so intellectually, artistically, and I think I have a artistic potential. So I'm very good at writing, very good at creativity, writing, singing, drawing, but whatever it is, whatever multidisciplinary or just writing, the word is my first creative tool. But so that's artistic potential, but I have an intellectual potential. And my theory on art and my critique of other art, and we just did a video, me and my brother, about this today, is that art has to be grounded in political, factual context in order to be real art. Because most of the best art in history comes from the counterculture, which was a rejection against, art has human values, and throughout history we have a story of humans being oppressed by inhuman systems. And so if you look throughout history at the best art, it's usually the most human, and so it stands out against the systems of its day, because we've never really had like, not just a utopia, but there's very rare that we've had equitable human system. We've been working towards that, and every one we have is a little bit better than the last, but we're still a far ways away. But we've always been able to create good art. But that's why good art usually eventually has to confront the systems of its day which are oppressive, because good art is just more pure than the systems that contain it. It's usually more pure than even the people. Like our romanticized versions of romance are more pure than our actual romance. So I would like to create art that approaches that highest level of human values, has something to say about our political truth, and it is my highest form of my potential as an artist. And if you notice, I'm not saying I'm the best, just whatever my potential is. But that means that honestly, like, not just me writing as a fucking lame ass amateur. Like, I dig deep into poetry. I dig deep into, like, I didn't go to school like for an MFA, but I read an MFA curriculum. Like I tried it, and that's the more time I get, and the more like this apartment is supposed to give me that. These are the times that I can take a step back and like dig deep into my vein. It's just, it takes so much time. Like, but I do it every now and then. Every now and then I'll dig deep into like a poetry book, and like I got like Leonard Cohen's book of all of his songs as a book of poetry, which is beautiful. I started reading Alan Watts' book on Zen Buddhism. Like but that's what you have to do in life. You have to stop and remember why you're living, and then you have to put not just your intentions but your time. Like, you actually have to put time into that shit. And so that's what I did on December. I noticed my skill was so much work. I've like the last 3 months just been like, all I do is I wake up, I fucking smoke if I have smoke, I take a coffee, I react to the news, and then I write. And I've been creating some really fucking amazing shit. Poems, songs, and then my blog. I have this like really cool project I'm working on right now, which is like I'm gonna launch. But
and when do you ingest content?
In the morning. I have a news thing, so I do react to the news, and then that's gonna be a part of the blog, a daily reaction to the news, a couple minutes. Creative content, I'm trying to put aside more time for that, but like I was telling you about like the Zen Buddhism. I have a couple. I'm trying to organize my intellectual mind, so I know which avenues I'm going down. So there's some social organization concepts, some nonfiction that I'm interested in, social like agency theory, just how like the military is organized, how some stuff I've always cared about. In Occupy, my most curious thing was how Occupy was organized. So I think I'm starting to realize that I like social science, like was it hierarchical science, the science of how people are organized. I forgot, I wrote it down how it was called, but like systems engineering is like the thing that I geek out about. You could just say engineering in general, but that's like, so I have a couple different.
Did you build these shelves? What? They're great shelves.
I could probably say 4 or 5 categories of things that I try to like put time into, but now I'm trying to outline them. So I've always known poetry is my thing. So like, but then I already know like that path towards like, if I just wanted to do poetry in an MFA type thing and be a scholar, I would pick a couple different cultures to get into. So I've always known how to do that path if I wanted to. Like,
do you have any poetry recommendations?
Yeah, it's for sure.
Because I have
so much stuff.
Oh.
And you have to get cultural. You have to like, if you want to get into the human tradition of telling stories, and poetry is our oldest form of written art. I think it's poetry, like all fiction starts as like the song and the poem. So like no matter what type of writing you're into, if you want to become a master at the craft, you have to appreciate poetry. Even if it's not your thing, you have to just fucking. And so then you have to appreciate multiple cultures, because we all have blind spots. So like.
Okay, so what are your recommendations?
Well, Pablo Neruda, you can't go wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the fucking like Pablo Picasso of like.
Yeah.
And then so you might like.
In English also?
Yeah. He's just like, all of these guys are really good for like something different, but like he's great because he ran for president of his country. He's like, he was politically like idealistic, and yet, but I mean as a male, you know, he was hugely romantic, like physically so. Like he talks about the woman's thighs. He's very like lustful in a like a pure way. Let me think. I was just thinking about this recently. Who do I like? Who do I respect? I like American poetry. There's this, let me think. Alright, what do you like? And then I'll think.
I have a sense that I need to have more poetry in my life. I don't really read much poetry. I haven't been consuming much creative content at all. I've been watching movies recently, but
The first thing you do is you get a survey book, and then you find out, because you find out what speaks to you. So look
Yeah.
that's why these books are here.
yeah.
Surveys of philosophy in comic book form, because philosophy is so dense and so intimidating. But if you put them in comics, all of a sudden anyone can read them.
Yeah.
There's 2 of them. Out of these surveys, I found out I really like Zen Buddhism, and I've never really liked Plato or the Western tradition. I've always leaned towards the East. But these surveys have really opened me up to Buddhism, and then I dig deeper into that, and then you go. So I think you go in any. This is what is this called? This is pedagogy, the science of teaching. But you go from general to the specific. So read it. I always tell anyone when I was telling someone about getting into economics, read a couple economic surveys, maybe a right-leaning one, a liberal-leaning one, and then find out your heroes, the guys you like who stand out to you, and then dig deeper. And so I have people on my economic shortlist that I would dig deeper. I haven't read Marx yet. I've only read surveys of Marx. So do that with poetry. So I would recommend. I have the survey about short story writing. It's called The Story and Its Writer. It's one of the only things I learned in college, but it introduced me to so many fucking short story writers. It introduced me to Mishima, which is a Japanese short story writer and super awesome guy. So do that with poetry. Find a really good American poetry anthology, world poetry. I had a couple. I can't recommend. No, there's actually, you find so you rate those by the editor. Because if the editor is some amazing American poet laureate, then he'll have picked some really cool shit. And also, I have so many short story compilations, and my favorite ones have really awesome editors. Stephen King edited a couple, America's Greatest Short Stories and shit. So find a really good poet. Oh, you know what? Someone who fucks with your politics too. So there's a couple of them in my writing, I don't remember off the top of my head, who are really politically active poet laureates. Some of them are really fucking superheroes. Harold Pinter is a superhero playwright. He gave a great war speech against the Bush War. One of the few people to stand up publicly against it. That's why I would fuck with his plays. If I want to get into plays more. I have a play idea, and fucking actually written it was supposed to be a novel, and I wrote 100 pages, and I was like, fuck, this would make a great play just standalone. But so if I was gonna learn more, I would probably start with Pinter because I fuck with his politics. But so you need a survey of poetry, and then I would glance through it casually. Also, I recommend this approach because that way it's not.
That's really smart.
A task, and so you put it as a bathroom reader, or you put it as a before you go to sleep reader, and then.
That's really smart. Because
you have to respect your brain. There's a rational part, and there's a subconscious part. Allow your subconscious to get it when you want. Allow your passions to come out. If you force yourself to do it, you'll be like my friend who showed me his violin that he was forced to play when he was 5, and you can see stains on the wood from his tears. Because he would cry during his practice. He never picked up the violin again after he was forced to. Shit, if I don't think I have a survey on poetry.
No, I can order one. That's a smart way of thinking.
W.S. Murren, I think, is a guy who had a really good.
I think that's a guy I'm thinking about. He had some really cool quotes.
Look at this, you would dig this. The life-changing magic of tidying up. That's an organized person to do.
Marie Kondo.
Is that,
You're not exactly Marie Kondoing, are you?
No.
There's a lot of stuff around here.
I don't. I think I'm a lot more. But shit, I would love to do that with you. We could go to the Strand and pick up some fucking surveys on poetry.
Yeah, I'd be down.
Because those people who put together those anthologies, really, if you get a passionate person, I just read Harold Bloom's The Western Canon recently. Have you heard about that book?
I know Harold Bloom, yeah.
He's the definitive guide to the Western canon, what our sense of culturally. It's if you are the story you tell yourself, as you are, Leah is only her memories of Leah and her explanations of all Leah's actions, then those people who say this is a canon are doing that for us as a society. So it's such an important, reading his book, and I read the audiobook, so I have to go through the actual physical book, was like being in his lecture. It's your favorite type of teacher. It's this guy's so passionate about it, you can't help but be infected by it. Even when you disagree with him, he just is so, I haven't read Hamlet, but I want to now because of him. And so you need someone who does that with poetry, is they care about it enough that they feel these are the poems, if you had no others, you would understand what poetry means. So they're very selective, if you find someone who puts that much effort into it, then you'll
I really need
That's how I found Neruda, through an anthology. I found almost all my Carl Sandburg.
I know Carl Sandburg. I like Carl Sandburg.
Found him in an anthology. Because all these guys who like aren't popular enough to have broke into a curriculum.
Yeah.
Leonard, poetry. You know, I just remembered one. He wrote, you would love this guy. I have him. I have a book I can show you. Because poetry's the type of thing that's so passionate, like, when you talk about it, you just gotta read it out loud.
Mm-hmm. Here, I'm gonna run to the bathroom while you're getting it.
I'll loan you this book, right?
Yeah.
Robinson Jefferson. You don't have to worry because I can't really hear you.
Bear with me for 1 second. My coworker needs something from me so we can wrap up the show for the week. Unfortunately.
No, you got me on poetry and I started.
Oh, let's have some poetry time. I just need to figure out how to send him a password. Unfortunately.
This guy. This was a short answer. I should have just said this and not said any of the others. Like, do the survey thing, but like, if you're gonna pick a dude, there's so many reasons why you should pick this guy. He was a pacifist during World War II, which was so hard to do. So little people did that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that took intellectual courage to oppose that war. Ezra Pound did, and he was put in an insane asylum. So did Robert Lowell. Yeah, maybe you should just come over and like create some. Use my place as a creation crash pad. I'm kind of stuffed on a mush bush. Oh, if you want some water, I can give you water too. And my friend's coming with some weed in a minute.
I just have to figure out.
Life is good. See, I just need to monetize this lifestyle, but I'm living a very good life now. But no money's coming in. Had money coming in, and I was very unhappy. Now I'm very happy every minute of the day, but no money's coming. I'm looking for balance. That's how I explain it to my folks. They freak out. I stopped paying my car payment. But fuck, if you could monetize a healthy lifestyle, that's all you want. Like, Like, what do you want in life? I guess that's a simpler answer. I just want to be able to live while being happy. That's another thing. You have to separate life from ambition. I want to create art, but that doesn't define me. I want to create political truths and contribute to like healing, but that doesn't define me. Like, what do you want out of life? You want to be happy, and that means like surviving in a holistic way.
So yeah, would you say that that's what you're?
That's in my writing. In December, I wrote an autobiography. It was more of a draft of one.
Yeah.
But those are my last lines. Where like, I just talked myself into like higher levels of consciousness, and I talked myself out of the politics, out of the ambition, out of the ego, into like, I'm just a body that's going to return to the earth, and I just really want to keep that peace to me, that nothing can shake me because I don't hold on to anything. And so like that's how I've been approaching work, is I'll make the money, I'll do everything else, but like that's not important. What's important is like here and now, like what we're doing, like the passion I feel about the poem, because tomorrow's not promised. I might not live long enough to create a great work or create a political truth. But like, my sincerity in the present is something that I've earned and something that I'll hold on to. Once you have that, you don't have to give it up. Once we have a nice little piece of a state of mind, then you've earned that. It took a life to earn that. And we're here.
Yeah.
So Robinson Jeffers, war resistor, he created his own rhythm in his poem. It's called the spring rhyme. So he innovated the art form. He had the right politics. He built his own fucking stone house in Carmel, California with his own 2 hands. He hired someone to teach him masonry until he knew how to do it himself, then built it himself. He was just like smoking fucking Lucky Strike cigarettes on the cover. He was just a boss of a human being. Like, if you want to know what an idealized version of what manhood looks like to me.
Happy people die whole. They are all dissolved in a moment. They have had what they wanted. No hard gifts. The unhappy linger a space, but pain is a thing that is glad to be forgotten. But one who has given his heart to a cause or a country, his ghost may spaniel it a while, disconsolate to watch it. I was wondering how long the spirit that shreds this verse will remain when the nostrils are nipped, when the brain rots in its vault, or bubbles in the violence of fire to be ash and metal. I was thinking some stalks of the wood whose roots I married to the earth of this place will stand 5 centuries. I held the roots in my hand, the stem of the trees between 2 fingers. How many remote generations of women will drink joy from men's loins, and dragged from between the thighs of what mothers will giggle at my ghost when it curses the axeman. Gray, impotent voice on the sea wind when the last... on the axeman, gray, impotent voice on the sea wind when the last trunk falls. The women's abundance will have built roofs over all this foreland. Will have buried the rock foundations. Oh, will have buried the rock foundations I had here. The women's exuberance will canker and fail in its time, and like clouds the houses unframe. The granite of the prime stand from the heaps. Come storm and wash clean. The plaster is all run to the sea, and the steel all rusted. The foreland resumes the form we loved when we saw it. The one at the end of that age and far off from this place should meet my presence in a poem. The ghost would not care but be here, long sunset shadow in the seams of the granite, and forgotten the flesh, a spirit for the stone.
See, so you have like intimations of anti-statism, or like, yeah, anti-statism, naturalism, like an Eastern peace. Like, yeah, like you get a sense of his values. And that was just like a random poem. Like his values are really cool.
This guy's in. Checking out Robin's.
And then even how you were reading that, you got a sense of his sprung rhyme in there. Da 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 na 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 na. He has a certain rhythm to how he writes. Like a couple, like 2 unstressed syllables and then a stressed one. Like da 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 da. I learned that one from a guy I lived with. He was the what do you call it? The head of a university. But he was the head of a university in my hometown, and I rented a room from him, and I saw that on his table, and I knew he was a really educated guy. And since I didn't go to college, I always try to pick the brains of like people who did. And since he was like the professor of the university, and he said he wrote his thesis on this guy. He was a business guy, but he wrote his he was a literature major undergrad, and or poetry. And he says he's a guy who's not appreciated in Western canon as much. And so I fucking dug into him and it blew my mind. This was a guy who I lived with who had a dictionary stand with a dictionary and a fucking magnifying glass. I don't have that yet, but like, it was a level of like intellectualism. Someday I'll have my own house with a separate reading corner with a fucking dictionary stand. That's how much you appreciate words. Like I'm gonna, like with all the words in the English, that's why you have it, because you have, I've looked them up, reference dictionaries with all the words of the English language in them. So you can like, sometimes you don't just look up one word, you go on a tangent. Like he had, canker in there? In that poem? It's like, every now and then you need a fucking $20,000 word. Like every now and then you just need to like take a minute to find, yeah. It's one of the only things I took from college is this poetry professor. I have his book, B.F. Fairchild. He was a published poet, and he told me you have to read poetry as if you wrote it. Like act like you chose the words. You're good at reading.
It was hard because I couldn't really see. It's so much easier now with the light.
You read well. I like the way you read. That's a fat money clip you got there.
Money clip?
The money in the back of the...
Oh, I mean, it's not much money. It's it's my wallet.
It's another thing. Geographically, some geographies speak to you. And Big Sur is like one of my like geographic souls.
Yeah.
Like the Caribbean, Puerto Rico, Big Sur. I don't know about any others. Not really New York. Maybe Manhattan. Manhattan actually starting to become one.
I mean,
land.
there are parts of Brooklyn that like really speak to me, where I feel a real profound sense of home. When I go to California, I just feel like when I'm in the desert, Southern California, I mean...
The desert speaks to you. Like, have you gone to Joshua Tree?
I fucking love Joshua Tree.
Yeah, that's a place. If you're spiritual, you like...
I want to go back.
Let's go trip out in Joshua Tree.
I want to go to Joshua Tree.
There's this Arizona, California type thing in that desert. You just feel like why the Native American people live there.
We should go away for a weekend to Joshua Tree.
Well, that's where my family is. That'd be so easy.
Yeah, we don't have money.
Yeah, we got enough money.
Yeah.
That's what I'm realizing. You got enough money for a $1,000 trip.
I'll go.
You want me to introduce your mama?
Yeah, I'll totally meet your mama. I'd love to do that.
I was thinking about, like, last time I was there, I haven't done it. Every time I go there, I'm like, I should just buy a tent and spend 2 or 3 days on Joshua Tree, and I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Do, like, a nice, like,
I love it there.
ritualistic trip. Like, a nice entry and exit with, like, some, like, food and tea and, like...
And then just bringing a firewood.
Yeah. That's what we did.
What's the only thing that runs out? It gets cold there in the winter.
In our 20s, we would do it. Every now and then someone would camp out there and we'd go and join a party, walk into the desert and be crazy. That's just like what people do over here. That's what people do out there.
Yeah. Sorry, my coworker.
You never off the clock.
No, just Fridays. We have like a few final tasks to get the show out.
People like you over there?
What?
People like you over there?
Sometimes. This guy is my work husband. We have a really nice thing. He's a child.
Those are good.
He's 24.
Does he ever hit on you or not?
He would never. I mean, we have such a I mean, our team is so small. He's like, he and I are so close. He's 24, but he looks like he's 17.
Well, they look younger as we get older.
No, but he looks quite young. And so, like, you know, it's like, look, if I were this close with, you know, it's like at some point you just kind of work it out, right? Like, somebody I spend this much time with, I'd probably at this point have slept with him or something, but like,
Oh, okay.
No, it's just like we literally I spend more time with him than anyone else in my life, you know? Eventually you're just like bored.
Attracted to each other, right?
You're like bored in the afternoon. No, he's a kid. He's truly a child.
Eventually you're like bored in the afternoon. Is that how it works? You're just bored in the afternoon. You're like, you know, we should be fucking.
No, it's just like you're working in the afternoon. You don't want to be working. There's like, you know, it's like, you know, it's just you're
Tell me more about these stories.
No, just like it's like work is. I've never had coworkers like
I've never
this
had
before.
office romance.
Oh, I would never have an office romance with this kid. He's a child. He's truly a child. But we do spend so much time together, and then we end up hanging out on the weekends too. We're like best friends.
You have travel romances, right?
Of course.
Those are the best when you're traveling.
Sometimes.
Oh.
I don't like it like when people take over my experience.
Yeah, right. When it's like, oh, we're all gonna be doing everything. It's like
Suddenly I've even found that I was on a date a couple weeks ago with this guy. He was really a sweet guy. It was like truly, it was like really good looking, curious. Like he checked off a lot of boxes. But I just found him like. He like recommended. He's like, let's go for drinks. It was already like our 4th date. I'm like, I'm not trying to go for drinks. And upon like, let's go to a museum. Like I want to well, it's just like I want to be like outward facing in my existence. I like work all the time. It's Friday night. Like, let's go to the Reuben. You know?
The Reuben, what is that?
Oh, you would love it.
Yeah.
You would love it. It's the Himalayan art.
Oh.
It's great. It's open on Friday nights.
I don't know how I feel about museums.
You would like this one. It's a fine museum, and so we went, and I just
sounds so good, like I don't know.
No, it's spiritual.
It's just nice to the Reuben. Let's go to the Reuben.
Well, it's the first time I went to the Reuben was because
So people like me, Reubens are sandwiches.
Well, RUBIN, because it there's a psychedelics conference every fall called Horizons.
Oh, okay, so I would like
and
it,
the opening like party or the opening ceremony thing was always Friday night at the Reuben.
We need to hang out more so you can teach me how to be cultured, Leah. I'm missing culture in my life.
You're teaching me about poetry. So I so I was like, let's just go to the Reuben. So he came with me to the Reuben, and I just found him like inhibiting my enjoyment of the art by like.
That's not a relationship. That's not a good thing.
Oh no! Obviously, this was the last time we went out.
You want people who empower you like drugs, you're right.
And I was just like, something about you, I feel like I just like want you to shut up so I can enjoy this
you
art.
said that?
No. I was having an
Maybe you should.
monologue.
Maybe you should be more.
No, because he's such a nice guy. We're just not a match. You know, he's like there's nothing wrong with him.
You guys ever hook up?
We never had sex.
Didn't check that box.
I just like didn't.
Quality over quantity.
He just didn't do it for me. No, it's just like it's not even about quantity, quality. It's just like literally like if it's not there, it's not there.
Yeah.
It's just like I'd rather just like be by myself right now. So.
How old are you? Like 31 now?
32.
32.
Time keeps on ticking for me as well.
You were 31.
We were all 31 once.
Some of us
more recently than others. Yeah, I was 31 pretty recently. How old are you, 35?
25. I met you when you were 25. How long
You met
was
me when I
Occupy
was
Wall Street.
25.
You're such a cute little 25-year-old. I love the videos.
I look the same. I think I've aged well.
I'm not thinking you haven't aged well.
No. That was a separate thought.
Yeah.
By the way, I just want you to know what I think. I think I've aged well. How old are you
You're
now?
a very beautiful woman.
You were 29 when we met, so you're 36. Yeah. No, I think I get better with age, except I do have a wrinkle now.
A wrinkle? What wrinkle?
Believe me, it's made me think about
Maybe
my
you can be
mortality,
like
or at least my waning beauty, but
No,
fine.
it's that biological clock thing. Like that whole baby thing. It's like you guys have a limited time, so
Yeah.
you're like, now or never. When we
Yeah,
saw a
that's-
movie together, you're like, how did she make this movie and have a family?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I did not take that from the movie. And
I know,
like, if you
of
took that
course.
from the movie, you're like...
Yeah, no, of course, because that's like... That's
You
what
see the final year? Was Sam Powers in there?
No.
She has a family. No, Sam Powers is the Obama one. I just ordered it, if you want to see it.
No.
On Amazon. It was about Obama's final year. Sam Powers is his, like...
UN ambassador?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
I wanted to ask you about that. How do you reconcile those, like, institutional politicians with, like, do you have a positive feeling about her? Because I've been railing against her.
No, I mean, I don't know much about her, but generally I don't have a positive feeling about most institutional people.
I have her audiobook I'm almost done with, Enemy from Hell.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about genocide, and she talks about the Rwandan, the Tutsi, Hutu thing. She talks about the Serbia-Bosnia conflict, and she talks about the Khmer Rouge. And I'm like, those are the 3 genocides you picked? You didn't pick like Indonesia. She didn't pick any Western-supported genocides. And so it narrows the conversation to like a very narrow scope, and I'm really scared because following news for the last year, we have a proxy war in Syria between Russia, the U.S., Israel's getting involved. Israel is attacking Iran through that proxy war. We have Turkey, it's on Turkey's southern border, so they're getting involved. And the U.S. is doing our own old play of like propping up the Kurds. And so her book pretty much sets up that narrative of like, we have to interfere when genocide's on the line, not ignoring any Western supported genocide. And now we have a current proxy war where she could claim that the Kurds are being genocided eventually, because we have a history. That's what happened with Khmer Rouge. We have a history of putting our proxies in the path of violence, so then we have an excuse to come in and rain down hellfire. And so I've been getting into it, the intellectual, institutional defense for the status quo. And just so I'm trying to, that's what my blog, I'm trying to create a nice articulate argument against that. So not like the crazy radical, like, Occupy Wall Street, you guys are just a bunch of young kids. It's like, no, I've read what you have to say, and this is why you're factually wrong. And do that in a nice, articulate way without being too deep that you lose all the common viewers. Educate everyone. Educate the common person, but have the depth to actually deconstruct. Because it's a really heavy argument. I listened to her books 19 hours, and there's so much stuff. Like, it's going to take me a week to deconstruct that shit. It's like, and then you realize this is an intellectual war of attrition. Because they set up so many high barriers. You could spend your whole life trying to deconstruct. She used to write for The Economist. And then the guy who was her
What's her background? Where'd she come from?
The Economist, and she was a journalist. And she worked for the UN. And
how did she end up at The Economist?
I'd have to look.
Yeah, what's her educational background?
I'm just looking into it now. I know the person that she was mentored by, Sergio de Mil, I forgot his name, but they made a movie about him. They made a movie, The Peacemaker, about this guy, guy O'Malley, who helped broker the peace between in the Irish, you know, that whole whatever fucking shit that happened to the Irish. And then so he's trying to take those lessons around the world. So they made a movie about him. I saw it. I kind of went on a rabbit hole the last couple of weeks. I was going to buy groceries. I passed by this movie theater on West 10th, and I was like, political movie, I should watch this. So the next day I went and I saw it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, because this whole like not working thing is working out well for me. So I've just let my mind like wander.
Yeah, you get to really go down rabbit holes. I mean, that's what I'm being
happy. I'm living my life.
It sounds fabulous. The risk I would fear in that situation, which it doesn't seem like is happening, she was just becoming quite diffuse.
Oh no, because
you're rigorous. You have a.
I have finished creative projects before. So when I was younger, I was afraid that your mind's going to unravel. And
mine does.
Yep. But that's why you have to finish projects to prove to yourself you can. I've written, like, I didn't finish the novel, but I wrote enough about the novel. I can show you right now. It's a complete work of art. It's right here. I know that I'm a writer who can write and finish stuff because I've done it in the past, and I've been given accolades for it. I haven't made money, but this, like, you could read this front to back and say, all right, Shaz, that's a complete work of art. Now, whether it should be a part of a novel, whether it should be modified to be a standalone story, I think it should be modified to be a play. But once you have pieces like this, even if they're not finished,
then you can iterate.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can just move on to the next one. I only could write that because I was in Mexico living on the roof of my uncle's house, reading Pablo Neruda by candlelight, smoking weed out of a corncob pipe. I was in such a romantic I thought it was like, back then you think it's normal, but now it's like, that was one of my stories of like my 20s that I can't do that now. Yeah. You could be like an ignorant little shit back then, and like, I pitched my tent on his roof because he was like, you're going to tell the family that we made you live on the roof. I was like, no, I want this to be my Mexican experience. I want to sleep under the Mexican sky and watch the moon pass by and read my fucking poetry by candlelight. I wanted to be, that's how I got the feeling. And the feeling is, I'll loan that to you if you want. You don't have to read it now. That's some of my proudest writing. You can tell me if you think it's shit, but I think that's as good as I could write in some respects. Maybe I need an editor. I might drop the first section. It gets a good one.
It did.
It did?
Yep. I thought you heard it.
Hello, this is Shaz. Yeah, hello? Hello? Hello, this is Shaz. This is Shaz? Is this Wayne? Are you in front of 13 Carmine? Alright, I will buzz 13 and I'll let you up. Buzz 13, number 13. Thank you. This guy's gonna be a little shit. He probably doesn't need to smoke weed. So I'm going to introduce you. Set him up. Where are we going to set him up at? We'll put him up here above. Let me turn this off. I'm really sensitive to light in this room.
Oh
The
yeah,
screen is
it's quite a lot. Yeah.
Right. I keep all the lights pretty low so that way it's really easy to go to sleep in this apartment.
Yeah.
And also when you light a candle, it's noticeable. Light a candle right here and meditate over there, and it's like the coolest thing in the world, the best way to write out your eye. Hello, Wayne? Hey, be right out with you, man. Davina is our hostel manager. So if you want to meditate, what you do is you lay over there, put your feet up here, and then it's really cool. Yeah, we're going to put you up here at the top. Hey, Wayne, what's up? Shaz. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being patient with us. You can go right now. I'll show you. If you want. So yeah, put your backpack up here for now. We're figuring out storage. This is a new hostel. Right now we have Tomas and yourself. My brother's staying with us on this side, and I might crash down there. He has a huge suitcase. But other than that, feel free to do whatever. There's some outlets right there. There's an outlet right here. You can use this guy as a Bluetooth for the speaker. Here's an iPad if you need internet access. And I'll do the rest of the talk. If you're going to a party, these work. Glow sticks. And then fridges, if you need to put food in places. This is a fridge I have. Wash stuff, we help out to try and get rid of it. Grab anything that you want. Ask us if you want any food. You can probably use some food. My office is in here. You can hang out in here if you want, with or without me. Just don't touch any of the stuff that I'm working on. But if you want to hang on the couch or read or take a phone call,
okay.
Overflow, hangout spot. You don't smoke herb, do you?
What?
You don't smoke herb, do you?
No, not usually.
Sometimes we smoke, so
Okay.
that might be around here, but we keep it out of there.
Okay.
What else? And then the bathroom. You used to be able to go through the apartment to get to it, but you have to go in the hallway now. So I'll show you that. That's like it's cheap. It's a funny apartment. Yeah. The thing sleeps in here with my other friend. I usually sleep in the house. Oh, come on.
Yep.
Okay, no problem.
Sorry. Hold on a sec.
Check it out. So you come to the hallway to the bedroom. Other than that, that is it. I think I gave my brother my last set of keys. We'll make you a set of keys. I'm gonna be home all night, so it seems like just call me and I'll buzz you, or buzz, and I'll buzz you up.
Okay.
And if that didn't work, call me. Worst case, Airbnb, but I'll be waiter.
I'm not gonna be out too late tonight, but tomorrow I might.
Okay, you can tomorrow.
Okay.
But, so like by midnight.
You mean tomorrow?
No, tonight.
Oh, tonight? Yeah, by midnight.
let's just stay in contact. I'll have a cell phone. You have an iPhone, obviously. That IP, that phone number goes to the landline, so I can hear that. All the buzzing shit. Good to have you. Make yourself at home, hang out. It's really fucking awesome. And Tomas is cool. Right? And feel free to borrow any of the books on the shelves if you want. Just put stuff back where you found it. Yeah, borrow that. Take it home. Or that, and I'll keep it here. I'm working on
I
it.
want to read this.
It takes a good hour or two.
Well, I won't read the whole thing right now. I just like your tone.
I was in a really good spot, like culturally.
It's sparing in a good way.
Yeah, that's
It's not overwrought.
That was my first work of fiction, so I had to figure out how I write, which was like most of the struggle.
Yeah.
I'm going to read Robinson Jefferson.
I'm just gonna take this for light because I think this is a bit of a strain on my eyes.
I should put a lamp in here. You know what? We don't need that. I got you, Leah. Hold on. There's a reason why I bought 200 candles from fucking IKEA at one point.
Okay, I'll run to the bathroom again while you're working it out.
I think you're gonna like the setup, Leah. Yeah.
Nice. You
Yes,
see,
now you could lay back here. Take these pillows out.
did you hear me interacting with my old friend Davina?
Oh yeah. I didn't realize that you met her.
Yeah, we hung out.
What? When? What was that? I don't remember that. What did you guys hung out? Where?
Um,
Check this
So here.
We hung out at Cosm, don't you remember?
Oh, I remember now. I forgot
You were
went
supposed
up
to
the
come with
front.
me, and then you said you couldn't,
Check
and
it
I
out.
went up
no, You're
anyway.
going to the reading corner. Now you got to sit over there in the reading corner.
Ooh,
Surrounded
okay.
by lights.
Great.
See? Oh, yeah.
I heard the fire going. I thought you were just sparking up.
Oh, yeah, all right, I wish. You're showing us way. There you go. Now you can move those lights around as needed.
Oh my goodness.
Isn't that adorable?
You've really got a vibe going here.
Right? I got a
I'm really
This was my auto.
impressed by how you cultivate space. You do a really nice job.
I am a decent human being. I think you are too.
Well,
You are too.
I mean, one can be a decent human being and not have natural facility at cultivating space.
Depends. If you define decent human being as facility at cultivating space, then
Well, I mean, I don't. I think people can be decent human beings who can't cultivate space that well.
this is a type of night where like I feel good enough that I would trip out if I had some on me.
I wonder if I have anything on me.
I have acid, but
I wonder if I have mushrooms.
completely different. Yeah, that's where like that's why I always keep them on me because
Let
usually.
me see. You don't have any mushrooms?
No, I
If you
try.
pass me my bag, I sometimes have mushrooms on me.
Nah, shut up, seriously. But I like
I mean,
to.
just if you pass me my bag,
Where's your bag?
it's outside in the hallway. You know, I just switched
That
coats.
looks adorable. This thing right here. I made it so it's not so much of a fire hazard. I planted these guys.
You know, it's only because I just switched coats, and I put them in my pocket of my
Those
other
light
coat.
things, that's perfect. It casts
That's
so much
lovely.
light, and then
It's
you can
lovely.
move them around easily. I try to use Obama as a placeholder. That book that you just put him on is Obama. Yaya's gonna love this. Yaya loves the candles.
How did you find her?
Yaya?
Yeah.
Met her at the Equinox rooftop pool.
Hmm.
Cute girl in a bikini. Got her number and we did this crazy couple trips together. Like we just jumped right into it. I took some sassafras and mushrooms with her like the first like couple nights we started hanging out, and we just both like jumped into like.
What's sassafras?
It is like MDMA, but it's naturally derived from the sassafras tree. So it's like MDMA from a natural source. It's a really cool. It's like mushrooms. It's like gives you a nice emotional mushroom type high. Really strong though, and it does have a come down. The next day you kind of recalibrate your mental energy. But like, it's amazing. It'll give you the breakthroughs of like when people say that MDMA ecstasy gives you emotional breakthroughs. It's a pretty cool. Me and my sister took it, sat on the roof, talked all night just about our family. Like it's a really cool emotional therapy type thing.
Yeah.
Like whereas mushrooms is emotions that it's a journey. Sassafras is like it just heightens without the forced journey, so you don't really ever feel overwhelmed. You're just gonna get chatty and really lovey. It's like, but that plus mushrooms is like a. Whoa. Like,
Have you had much experience? I'm guessing you've never been on antidepressants.
No.
No, neither have I. And I'm not interested at all. But have you had experience of introducing psychedelics to people who are on antidepressants, SSRIs?
No, and I want to be like a shaman. I think my path is to help other people trip, but I have not. I'm humble. Like I wouldn't do that.
Well,
as of now.
Yeah, I mean, I have this like strong instinct to help people in my life, and I really believe in.
I'm just gonna get naked.
Okay.
You really believe in what?
Well, it's like I believe that I can help people with mushrooms, and
And
But,
there's
like,
so many
people
studies
are-
coming out that mushrooms are so good for like mental stuff.
Well, so like I read something recently about antidepressants and the way that like people don't really understand how SSRIs work, but it seems like what it is that it basically decreases sensitivity at both extremes. So we're just like the pain is a little too much for you, so we're going to make you feel the pain less. But that also means we're going to make you feel the pleasure and the joy a little bit less.
I have family
We're gonna
members
make
who are on probably SSRIs, came back from Iraq 100% disabled, and he's just a vegetable now. He's like not happy, not sad. But if he doesn't take those, he'll be violent.
Right. So it's just like, it just makes shit manageable. But it seems like, so with the mushroom trials that they're doing, they're like, okay, this also works as an antidepressant, but it seems like it works as an antidepressant by making you feel more, but making you able to handle it more.
Yeah, exactly.
And I just
Contextualizes
like,
emotions.
so I've been seeing, I mean, we're not really seeing each other anymore. We're still in conversation. I was seeing this guy briefly, who I felt like very drawn to, but he's like a little bit of a dud. Like as a human, if I'm gonna be like
Little
as
bit of a dud.
cold
Oh, yeah?
and like just like as
Just
coldly critical as possible.
Don't mention any names.
Like he's I think of him as like pretty like subfunctional in terms of just being like a depressive, and like I you know I would say that like my involvement with him is really just to like I on some level I'm just like, how can you be this broken? And like I just really like want to help him, and I'd love to like give him like I see him as somebody who like is being destroyed by the Western medical system.
Yeah, a lot of people like that, right?
And I'm like this guy's been on antidepressants for like a decade. He's obviously still depressed, and just worse. Like he is like a living embodiment of the side effects of SSRIs.
Yeah.
And I just like I know that you can't play with fire, and I don't want to be like, stop taking your SSRIs, start taking mushrooms, because like who knows? Like I don't want him to kill himself. But like at the same time, I like truly believe that people might as well be dead, like with the way that they're being made to live.
I agree. So people might as well be dead with the way that they're made to live. That's a really good way to put it. Some people might as well be dead with the way that they're made to live. My brother said a really good one today. He said, America is because of what Mexico isn't.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? Like, everything that you like about America is a reason why Mexico might be just our benefits don't come without a cost. Yeah, exactly. Including the American lifestyle.
Oh my god, yeah.
He's not. Wait, what'd you say? What was yours?
I just.
He's not worth living. Or
No, it's just like the way that some people are made to live. They might as well be dead.
Yeah.
And I just look. I like. Honestly, I don't want to be with.
Mushrooms are illegal. Why?
It's insane, and I really like. I just want to help people.
Mushrooms,
I like really.
Plants and fungus are illegal.
I really want to help people so much. We're gonna do a psychedelics hour.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I wanted like that's why I openly talk about wanting to be a shaman because we need.
To the host of my show.
Really?
Yeah.
So many people are so curious about that stuff, and like so many people are doing the micro stuff, but like we need the people to do the big doses to show you what the big guys are about.
I don't think that's as necessary.
It's harder.
Like, but like let people don't need their shit fucked right up. Like they need. Well, these
Is that what it does? It fucks your shit up?
No. I'm saying like I handle psychedelics well. I also feel like pretty internally straight. Like I'm like.
I don't know. Let's both do 5 grams and we'll see if you.
No. Oh, I mean, I'm gentle with myself, but I'm
not going to challenge you. I'm not saying I would be an asshole, but like, do 5 grams and then tell me who you are, and I'll tell you if you actually know who you are, because that's, I think, when you start to do 5 grams and above, that's what Terence McKenna said. That's when you experience ego death, and you actually start to break through to the fundamental programming of your being, like all that. 0 to age 10, when you write your original code that you use to explain the rest of your life. That's why those years matter so much. That's your original lessons and your original hard drive. So if you want to get into your original hard drive and correct mistakes or make sure that
I'm probably due for a big fucking trip.
To check your fucking operating
And
language.
do you think mushrooms more than acid?
I think it defrags your operating language.
Mushrooms more than acid.
Yeah, acid.
I haven't taken a hero dose of mushrooms in like a decade.
Acid. I've
over a
never
decade.
gotten wisdom from acid.
Really?
I've gotten different perspectives, but it hasn't been holistic. Mushrooms always make me feel like they invite me to a room in which I'm present with everything else has intention and energy, and the mushrooms were the host. Acid has never given me that. I've never personified acid like that. I've never had like a spiritual personification. Like mushrooms, I really think allow your reptilian brain, different parts of your brain to communicate with each other. It allows you to externalize and project your ego. And that's when people feel like they're experiencing out of body, all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's your mind playing with itself or not, you're creating a tool to then communicate with yourself. So my last big trip, I did 5 grams in here. And I was talking to Monkey Man, I was calling him, which was my ego, whatever you call it. But I have what it is now, which still existed on the trip.
Mm-hmm.
But now there was something else. And I quantified it. I was like really scientific with this last one, and I wrote down shit. I'll show you some of the flashcards I wrote. But I was like, and I could develop so many different ideas which I'm going to carry forward like the rest of my life. Like your consciousness, your subconscious rides your consciousness, not the other way around. So if I want to know what you believe, if I want to quantify how Leah thinks, how a human person thinks, I would say that there are different speeds of thought. And thought itself, there's something that comes before a thought. There's pre-thought, you could call it subconscious, whatever. Then there's thought, and then there's speaking, and then there's writing. And each one of them slows down. So you could only think at a certain speed, and you think faster than you talk, right? But there's something that happens faster than your thought, which comes before it. And then when I speak, it's slower than my thought. And when I write, when I transcribe, now these are all slowing down. So what is that thing that's pushing your thought off the shelves like a monkey's pushing books off the shelves? And that's what you speak to when you do psychedelics. You're speaking to that. There's a barrier between your conscious mind and your preconscious, subconscious. And we know that exists because we know that people make decisions on a preconscious level. And so you look at it like vision. You have vision, and then you have periphery vision. And so I believe that you have consciousness, periphery consciousness, and then subconsciousness. Psychedelics start tapping into other forms of consciousness. Weed taps into periphery consciousness, doesn't really tap into subconsciousness. So when you're on weed, you're just noticing more stuff around, and you know that because I've overdosed on weed, where I can't turn off periphery consciousness, and it's just sensory stimulus from everything. When I was on that 5 gram, I noticed that my subconscious was writing external stimulation, and I was like, whoa, psychedelic hallucinations are maybe just your subconscious writing your external stimulation. So if I looked at the light, that light right there, it started growing bigger and bigger. But then I noticed, my pupils are dilating because I'm focusing on it. So like all of these like hallucinatory experiences are really just you freaking out about sensory stimulus, which then your subconscious is writing. And then, so I was trying to quantify. I have my rational thought, I'm thinking right now, what are these other thoughts which I know aren't how I normally think? But if I think like that, it goes away. You scare them away. So I'm like, I slowed down my thoughts and I was like, all right, Monkey Man, it's okay to come out. And then I wait. And then any sort of stimulus, like the radiator was popping, like pop, 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 pop. And each one of those pops was giving me a different thought. Like my little, it's like, when you're tripping and you're getting these weird thoughts, they're coming at every noise. And I was like, oh shit, it's writing that. Auditory stimulus. If I look at the light, it's writing that. Anything I concentrated on for a while was giving me thoughts. And then I thought when I was sober again, I was like, that's how your subconscious works. So if I talk to you quickly, rapidly, pressured speech they call it psychology, eventually I'll reveal what I believe because I'll run out of rational thoughts and I'll start to have my subconscious start coming to the surface. And that's why we respect like freestyling so much, any sort of compulsory art, because we feel that's coming from the flow, the subconscious. And we are suspicious of anything that's too premeditated and thought out because we know that's your rational mind and we know that there's different values, and the one that actually is your real value system, your operating code, is more that core. So you gotta, so that's what psychedelics do, is allow you access to the back door into your basic, using programming analogy, your basic like programming of like your initial, which you accumulate during the first like 5-10 years. But that's really dangerous because you said you don't want to break people's minds or something. Yeah, if you let someone into the back door of their mind, they could fuck shit up.
Yeah, but I think that to me it makes a lot of sense to, like, I think about this person who like really, he needs help. Like he really needs help.
Give him access to the back door of his brain and see if you could poke around in it.
I think
I'm worried he'd die.
If you don't take a big enough dose, you don't get the access. That's what I don't like about small dosing.
I think
that
the
you
small
don't get
doses,
there without
what
a
you
big
can
enough.
start doing is you can start
I don't know what the small doses do. I don't do them.
Oh, I do. And how they help
Explain them to me. Yeah.
is they just take you out of yourself a bit. And they allow, like, for me, the worst thing that I can do is focus too much on myself. And what they do is they make me curious about the world. And they just, like, reorient me and towards finding joy and specialness in everything around.
They rein in the rational prefrontal cortex mind, I think. They lower that. That's what I think. They help both communicate, and so they diminish this one or they empower that one. They do something. So, and that's what you notice, the dimming of this rash, because you're so analytic, you appreciate that dimming of the analytic mind probably.
Yeah, but I also, it just resets me.
Yeah.
It's not like then I come down from it and I still feel like myself and I get the rational back, but I have a little bit of
that's what I like about
an
mushrooms
awareness
so much. It's such a smooth transition.
I mean, the thing is, I used to fuck with acid. I used to take a lot of acid, and like, acid's very long, and it leaves you
commitment,
and it leaves you really strung out.
Yeah.
And I've just been loving the shit out of mushrooms because, but maybe I really need to take a big dose of mushrooms.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do the 5 gram and let's just sit. And
5 gram? How much is 5 gram? That sounds like a lot.
It's like
I mean, so I'll just like lose myself completely.
You don't lose yourself. Well, the first big one I did, I was nonverbal, but like then that just means that.
I mean, I did that back in the day, but.
You're strong enough. You want to do that. All it would be is that we'd have to have like a little agreement that like I could be a little bit strong personality, so maybe also have a third party to kind of like check my energy too, just to be like, because that's what all my friends tell me. Like you could be a little bit much. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know that I'd feel super comfortable being less in control with you. Not because I don't trust you. Mm-hmm. It's just like an energetic.
It's a strong thing.
It's an
energetic. That's what we'd have. I already recognize that. We'd have like some more presence.
Yeah.
Yaya's a really good presence. Maybe I'd have, but like Davina's like I've trusted with my life. She's like just has been doing a lot of stuff for a long time. Most of my first trips were with her. My first time doing 5 grams was with her. Some people I just like, because they know me so well, they know how to balance out the worst traits in my, but I think I'm getting better, because if I want to be like that shaman type dude.
Excuse me, can I chip in?
Yeah.
Are you guys recording this?
No, we're just talking about
stuff. Because I just overheard, and I heard, like, is this like you trying to convince her to take mushrooms?
No. We're just talking, we're talking about maybe doing them, but like not convince each other.
You know why?
Because you just said, I don't know if you're talking about like acid or shrooms, but you just said like it just makes me really focus on myself, and like that's not something that you wanted to do.
Oh no, in life, I think sometimes I can spin out on my thinking too much about myself, not on drugs. That's not a positive place for me when I turn too far inward, because I think I'm at my best when I'm curious about the world. And so for me, I think that sometimes taking small amounts of psychedelics can help me step outside of my perspective on just like focusing too hard on myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Why? What were you gonna say?
I was gonna ask you then why, because I only heard that bit, so that's why I asked. But no, I was gonna say like if focusing too much on yourself was a bad thing, as in like why would that be?
It's just for me, I can get, I think I'm just like not that interesting when I'm really focused on the story of my own life. I think like when I focus on making decisions and then I make those decisions, that's really useful. But when I get caught in patterns of analyzing my own existence rather than living my life, that's like not super helpful for me.
I wouldn't explain it like she explained it, but I would agree with her assessment. I just think if you have an analytic mind and you've lived your life a certain amount of time, like Leah and I in our 30s now, you notice that you're at your best when your energy is going outwards, and when it's going inwards, it can become self-destructive.
Yeah.
Okay.
So because like a strong mind can deconstruct itself too much.
But I don't know if it's because I'm maybe younger, or because I see like every moment like we're deciding, like sitting down, standing up, drink water, not drink water. So it's like kind of, I think you have an option to choose like go inwards or go like, this is where I'm at today, there's no point in analyzing the past. Or even if you do, you just recognize it just to see where you want to go forward. And
that comes more naturally for some people than others. I think naturally you're a lot more present than I was at your age. You just have a natural like presence. I think some other people have to earn it. Like you have to, like, some people are just like super analyze everything to the point where when I was young with girls especially, I would overanalyze everything, talk about everything, and I didn't know how to shut my mind off.
Yeah.
It might have been like smoking a lot of weed until I finally learned how to just chill out. I know friends who were super aggressive until they smoked a lot of weed. But psychedelics, a practice in ritualistic drug taking helps mellow out the most harsh parts of your personality sometimes.
Yeah.
But like for me, I definitely have learned how to chill out. But like, I get that. I mean,
Because I've never done psychedelics, but that's
Yeah.
why I'm.
you never did mushrooms?
No.
It'd be interesting.
Psychedelics have, it's hard to know at this point in my life what I would be like had I not ever taken psychedelics, because they're such a part of my life. And
In a positive way.
yeah, I really like psychedelics. But I mean, I don't know if I have like a naturally occurring psychedelic brain, or if my brain is somehow psychedelic because I've engaged with psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that when I think about my brain's functioning, it feels psychedelically derived at this point, in terms of the way that I'm able to manage energies, the way I'm able to manage my own energy, the way that I'm able to
I would say it's not
handle
just
what comes my way and move through it. And like that to me feels like I've developed a lot of practices that I don't know that I had in my early 20s, for instance.
It's giving you like a skill set.
Well, it's tough to know if it's come from that, or if I see the positive patterns that my brain has grown into as being parallel to the states that I've achieved through psychedelic use.
I'd say it's not just the drugs, because I knew her 7 years ago in a Occupy Wall Street, the protest camp, and that had nothing to do with drugs. But the same way your mind interacted with that, that's why I vibed with you so much, was the same way my mind did. It was just a very analytic mind, and we were in a very intellectually stimulating environment. So that had nothing to do with drugs, but her approach with it was very similar to me. We were like, grasp the whole great structure. You were attracted to Devin. We were attracted to like, to the, not just the thing, but how it was interacting, and you got involved with like the facilitation and everything. It was like, so like that had nothing to do with drugs, but it was the same type of approach. Like, I think
so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It in some ways, I causation is really hard for me to determine.
Yeah.
Like I have a really positive relationship. I think Shaz does too. Like my mind, like somebody said to me recently, like nobody like I've never seen anybody with as positive a relationship to psychedelics as you have. And I think part of that is because for me, I just like identify that the state that I achieve on psychedelics is the same state that I want to have in my life in general. And the more my brain naturally moves toward that state without psychedelics as well, the happier I am.
That's a good way to put it. That's pretty much exactly, I've never talked to you about this, but that's exactly how it articulates. I always tell people I want to be the soul that straddles both worlds. I want one foot in the psychedelic state, one foot in the natural state. And if that means at one point I never take psychedelics again because I feel like I've achieved my balance. Like homeboy, I just sent the quote to someone I know from Alan Watts. Once you get the message, put the phone down. He used psychedelics like a microscope. You use them to look inside your brain, but then you have to go and take that information and do something with it. A scientist doesn't just stay on the microscope the whole time. You have to step back and like, I try not to do psychedelics more than, like you asked me before, more than once a month, even a couple months. I wanted to do every full moon mushroom trip this year, and I don't know if I'm going to make it. But I don't force the issue. I've never taken them compulsory. I've always taken them, because what I have to, about the subconscious again, I try to act like, you know those times when you feel like it's just natural to do it? That might be your subconscious. It might be some periphery intelligence coming out. So I've always waited for a sign or something. Like this acid sitting there until like the right, like tonight when we were talking, if I had them, I would feel like tonight maybe, I would check the time, I'd be like, yeah, we have 5 hours before midnight, 4 hours before midnight. I could peek around the time the moon's going to be rising. I'd probably, but like I don't have them on me. But yeah, I like it's an intuitive dance between it's not completely a conscious choice. It's more of a like a feeling, right? Like and it sounds hippy dippy shit, but like it's like if you put too much intention, it's like romance. If you put too much intention, you ruin the romance because now you're projecting all that shit. So you just try to create a space in which two people can have a good experience. And then out of that, either something grows or it doesn't. So I just keep drugs on me, and then every now and then.
You feel the time's right.
I've held on to psychedelics for over 6 months, or a year. I had acid for over a year, but that I didn't take before. Just forgot about it, never felt like. And then I was moving, and then I found it. And I was like, oh, time to take it. And that was the night I moved on acid. And then I ended up laying on my back listening to jazz music for like 3 hours. And then I heard the interplay between the different instruments and shit.
That's cool. Okay, thank you.
I don't know.
So what happened with you and Yaya?
What do you mean?
You've settled into a more non-romantic place?
Yeah, that's the one way to put it. Yeah, we're not fucking.
In a way that feels good for you?
Yeah, I guess like blue balls is like a massage or ego. But no, it's yeah. Like long story short, we're friends now, and we're working on the friendship, and that's a safe place to put your energy, especially when you live with each other. It would make things a little weird. She's sharing that room with Davina, so why both of us, not gonna. Yeah. And then I'm trying to be ahead of my sexual desire anyways. Trying not to just fuck everything that I want to, so it's a good place for me to be. We're very lovey-dovey, and it's a nice thing too to have like that type of like, we'll cuddle and watch a movie, and it's nice to have sometimes that platonic energy without the like, my hands going down your pants now. Like, it's cool to like, you could have like platonic friends who don't do anything, platonic friends who cuddle, and then like sexual friends. And it's cool sometimes to have the middle where like you get a lot of like comfort, a lot of nice hugs, and a lot of like massages, and like, because that feeds your soul in a way too. In a way, sometimes we all just need hugs. Like how much of the time are you actually spent fucking a lover versus holding them? A lot more time holding them than fucking them. And so sometimes taking the fucking out of the equation simplifies the human aspect. So yeah. And also, we're not meant to be like that for each other right now. Like we're not each other's person right now. Based off decisions she's making in her life and decisions I'm making in my life. She maybe should be with someone else romantically, and maybe I should be with someone else. And I mean, it's so cool because we're very intuitive with each other like that. We're like, it happened because I fucked someone else, and because she had come to that decision before I fucked someone else, but then I fucked someone else before having the conversation with her. And then she tried to have the conversation with me, and I was like, before you do, let me tell you what just happened last night. And she was like, oh, we're pretty much in the same place. And I'm like, that's why we're so good with each other, because like, well, I mean, this is what happened with me and Alicia. It's like, if you could get everything you need from the relationship out of friendship, then why are you with each other? If you're not my favorite person to have sex with, and we can be friends, and like, we stopped having sex, and I haven't lost anything in the relationship, so maybe that means that like, we shouldn't have been having sex to begin with. Because your lover should be your, like, if you're going to choose one person to have sex with, why not be the passionate person?
You should just like really, really, really want to have sex with
Exactly.
that person.
Otherwise, you should never be having sex with someone kind of meh. Because it's like, you could be that person's friend and find someone who's going to fucking, like any woman who tells me she's being fucked bad or like she's having bad sex, I'm like, there's no excuse to have bad sex in life. Life's too short to have bad sex, right? That's a friend. That's not a lover. Don't have, and that's another reason. When I was younger, I used to think, why not have sex with your friends? We all like pick some pussy, just be with each other. But once you start having good sex in your life, you realize, let's look for that person that you have that like you want to fucking have a fire and then put it out with someone. You don't want to be just rubbing sticks together. You want to like, once you experience passion, it becomes addictive. And I'm not saying we didn't have passion, but like, what gives me like, that's how I rationalize it or whatever. I'm like, I know passion's out there. I just felt it the other night. There's some girl that came by here, and we had a conversation till like 3 in the morning, and I was like, I could feel like kinetically like a really long hug goodbye, and she was like, oh, we should stay in contact. And I was like, come stay here anytime. And she lives in Connecticut, and I'm like, see, I felt that. Like, I know it's out there. My passion's out there still. Like, I don't gotta just put it all in one person. So that's where we're at. But it's the simpler explanation is we just live with each other. It complicate things. A friendship is a lot more stable than a romance when you have so many people in the apartment. That's what that's where we're at. And she said her guy stiffed her, and so she's not coming back with any group.
She's not coming back. Wait, her guy stiffed her, so she's not getting
Herb, yeah.
What do you mean?
She just messaged me and she said she's not picking up. We're so deprived having marijuana be illegal. It's like, I can't just smoke whenever I want in the city of alcoholics. It's so
it's
fucking
insane.
And on the other side of the country, it's now recreational. It's like,
insane.
it tears out, because I love it so much, it tears out my soul. It's like, that's my drug of choice. It sucks.
Like on a Friday night, I just wanted to fucking smoke a
get a
bowl
little
and
high,
look at
yeah.
my candles. Your brain needs that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
As I get older, like my half an hour of stony meditation,
Yeah.
processing and shit. Especially in a room like this, and you grab a notebook and then you start writing shit. That's why I keep that notebook.
I mean, it's amazing to me that you. Where's all your clothing?
Behind you.
This is it.
Isn't that cool? And my dear laundry. You don't even notice. It doesn't even stink.
So this is your bedroom.
In a way, I call it my office. I sleep in the hostel room.
But like, it's like I look at what you do with space here, and I have no excuse for not doing more with my space because you don't have.
That's why you need to keep me closer in your life, Leah, for creative inspiration.
I certainly am inspired by you. You don't have that much space, and you use it quite well.
I iterate a lot.
I know.
I like this one though. This is the one that I'm taking into the internet.
To the internet.
Yeah, the camera and then the microphone drops, and this is where I blog from.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be on my blog? You want to be on?
No, thank you. Your roof is also really sweet.
And that doubles the square feet.
The roof makes a huge difference because I think about like, could I do what I want with the space that I have?
There's a 100-year-old church right to your left.
Yeah, I mean, you have
Window.
really. It's a good deal.
And we're popped out. We're in like a little turret. The energy of the space. I can
Yeah,
pop
the
out
energy
here
of the space is quite
and
good.
look at 6th Avenue. And then I can look at the fucking Freedom Tower. I can look at this 100-year-old church. There's just so many energies.
Wow,
coming
that
and going on
church is
here.
amazing to have outside of your window.
Father Domo Square. Fucking Father Domo. You know, immigrants.
Is this a fire escape? No.
Mm-mm.
Do you have a fire escape?
I mean, that is a form of a fire escape. It's just not a high survival rate.
No, but like you could open it and put your feet out and look outside.
Shit, I guess you can. That'd be fucking interesting. But there's no sort of scaffolding.
Yeah.
Just your feet dangling.
Well, what you could do is you could open it and have one foot on one side, and smoke something out the window and look at that.
I smoke a cigarette in here every now and then.
I mean,
Oh shit, I want to find a herb guy now.
it really does make me think about what I want out of space.
Move into my hostel. You want me to reserve one of those beds for you?
I need my own space to cultivate.
You could cultivate a bunk. I'll give you some sheets, some curtains. You can't stay in bed number 4. That's Leah's bed. Dude, imagine if my hostel gets big though, and I have like artists. If my blog gets big, and that's the whole point of the blog. I have a blog / hostel. You could come stay at the blog. Right? You pay less in rent. Yeah, exactly. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm in the village.
Yeah, I like biking.
You bike home? Do you have your bike tonight?
No, because it's raining.
But it is.
Yeah, no, I have to at some point. Sorry, I have a friend in town. At some point, I have to
Bounce and do stuff.
Well,
Me
what
too.
time? I have
just wanna
time.
know.
Are you sitting bar alone? Maybe?
Oh, I'm not in a rush. You hang out as long as you want, but like, we can
I thought I did a really. I did some really good communicating today with this guy.
Oh yeah, you want to tell me about your relationship.
Nothing. This is just like the depressive, and he's fine.
The guy who's bad at life?
I really just like. I don't want to be with him. But there is something that I want from him. Or for him. Like, I just feel really connected to him. It's just like one of those weird things that just happens and you're like, I guess I'm just gonna figure out why I feel connected to you and let this thing play out and then move on.
Oh.
What?
That's good. That's nice. That's like passion.
Yeah, no, I feel a certain degree of passion for him. Just in terms of like feeling.
I have to look up a weed strain. My weed guy, since Yaya didn't pick up, he tells me he has lamb's breath, and I have to look up what the fuck that is. I try to know my strains before I can buy them.
I feel like I did a really good job of being a really clear communicator. I'm really proud of myself.
Yeah, you're right. But that's one of the dangers. That's something like if I was going to get into something with you, I'd watch out.
Why?
You communicate to the point that I feel like you're trying to control the situation.
No, I don't. That's the thing. I'm like very, I've gotten so much better. Like, I look at how, Devin and I have a really good relationship now, which is just, it's like one of the things that I'm really happy about in my life.
That I think says something about emotional maturity to be able to be friends with your exes. If people can't do that, that's like a big red flag for me.
We're like in such a good place with each other, and we're like talking to each other about our dating lives.
That's hard. That's like when you won.
Oh no!
When are you guys like best friends? That's like, because they know you on another level as anyone else.
I said to him, we were at a bar the other night. Actually, I ran into him. This guy had really pissed me off. And who do I run it? So this guy pissed me off. And then I went to this cafe, where I go when I go to the park. And who's standing right beside me but Devin? And I'm like, what are you doing here? It's like getting my broccoli sandwich on. I'm like, me too. So we just sat down and shared broccoli sandwiches. And I told him all about this like fucking this thing that I was annoyed about. And we ended up going out and having margaritas and then going out dancing together. And like, he's like, I'm like, do you have any guys for me? Like, I need to like clear myself of this shit. And he's like thinking about who he's got. He's like, is it weird if I just text my friend being like, my ex is single and hot, and she like if you want to like really like. And I was like, if they're cool.
You're on the prowl?
Well, no, it was just like the mode I was in. So then we went out, and this guy, he invited a friend out, and I was, and this guy's like, whoa, I can't believe you guys used to date. And I was like, he's like, how are you in this situation? I was like, well, I think we didn't want to break up because we were best friends. And we didn't want to break up because it's so scary to break up and risk losing your best friend. But, 80% of us, like, for me, he's 80% my favorite person on the planet, and 20% annoys the shit out of me. So, like, how about I just don't deal with the 20%?
It might be like what I said. If I could get what I need out of this relationship from a friendship, why are we fucking each other?
And of course, we had also... I don't think that he had stopped wanting to have sex with me, but I had stopped wanting to have sex with him. And it was just like, well, so we just did that, and now we just are friends. Instead, we just chose not, and we got here because I said to him at some point, I was like, look, we broke up. It was really hard for us to break up because we didn't want to lose our friendship, but I feel like we have. So let's just like not do it. Like, let's just go back to being really good friends. Anyway.
Oh, no, I got you.
No, when you're done.
But this guy has lamb's bread. Lamb's bread is supposedly one of the strains that Bob Marley would smoke. It comes from Jamaica, and it's supposed to be super euphoric, super happy and high. It's like a sativa, a happy sativa. You know those ones that you smoke and you're just giggly? This is gonna be dope. I love getting new strains. This is why you buy from professionals. See, fucking homegirl was gonna buy like a quarter for $50 from some fucking dude on the street that is her friend, but my guy is just, I don't know. Some people are fucking, weed should be legal. What the fuck are we doing? Anyways, so Bob Marley. Next time you see me, I'll have Bob Marley strain.
Anyway, so one thing there's so much that I realized, especially like having the opportunity to reflect with Devin and like being with Devin while being frustrated with this guy, and like being able to, he's like, why don't you just like text him and just be like, call me now? Like, I'm like, cause that won't work. Like
this guy?
No. It was like whatever the drama of when I ran into Devin. He's like, what? He's like, you can just be like really forced. And I'm like, no. Like, what I've learned is like I have such a gentler touch, and I just think I really think I'm just like so good at relationship communication now.
You say that, but
no, because I really I know, like, you think that, I don't know what you assume about how I am in relationships, but I'm just, like, I don't hold anger, and I, like...
It's hard for me to give my opinion without you thinking I have an ulterior motive of trying to talk you into dating me.
Well, I just don't think, I mean, you can give me your opinion, but you don't know. You just don't know. So, like, I don't know how valuable your opinion is. Like, I really, like, you're saying, like, you think the issue is I'm too direct, but, like,
I didn't say that.
Well, you just said that would be what would be scary about dating.
Not dating, not direct. No, just too trying to control the situation.
No,
too
but that's the thing.
analytical.
It's not. I'm not, and that's why I feel like I did just such a nice job here.
It's a non-qualified
Yeah.
opinion because I don't have data.
I really don't try to. I think I like give space. I have like a few things that I want, which are like clear communication, like about just like it's just like I don't demand anybody's time. I don't demand.
You don't think that we should have dated because that window's probably closed now, but you don't think it would have worked? Like I always thought that I would know you for a while. We should at least try to get it off the table, and then you decided to take the path of we shouldn't even try while we know each other. So now we're walking that path, and you think it's because I was too emotionally volatile, which I think is an assumption. And so you think I'm too volatile, and I think you're too assumptive. And those are our two positions we staked out.
Well, no, my take was that we just like didn't line up.
There was a couple times, like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I was like, you're single, I'm single, why don't we just fucking like try it just to see? Because you never know. What if like that's the one person that you've been circling back to for a reason? Because we do. But like, I mean, I think, like again, I'm trying to be mature in as I get better, like accept a friendship without qualification.
Mm-hmm.
Like friendship with you is not a consolation prize. It's a prize in and of itself, or else I devalue the friendship. And that's something that takes sexual satisfaction. Like I have to be happy enough to know that I can get laid whenever I want, to be able to not try to force it into situations in which it would hurt that situation.
Yeah.
As a man, that takes like to be comfortable with your sexuality, that you don't like to have enough food where you don't salivate every time food is around.
Mm-hmm.
As a man, we have big appetites. Some people do.
Yeah.
And so like to be comfortable enough to be like to pass on sex consistently, like not just once. I've done it once and I said I thought I reached, but now
enlightenment.
I have a booty call who I'm consistently putting off because every now and then I go back to it and then I feel worse for it. You have to do that a couple times to really get the, like some people can be told about the electric fence, some people have to see it, some people have to piss on it. You have to repeatedly piss on it sometimes to be like, all right, this is like just, that's the one with Yaya. I don't go back to it. I have free reign.
What do you mean about the electric fence?
Some people, it's just a little saying. Some people have to be told about the electric fence.
Yeah, but what electric fence?
It's a metaphor.
Yeah, for what?
Unhealthy, getting your needs met through unhealthy means.
Yeah.
So the reason why this girl's an electric fence is that I could have sex with her. Physically, she's attractive, she's cute and petite, and it's nice. She's very submissive. She lets you do whatever she wants. She's wild. She's probably not enjoying it because she's faking the orgasm and everything, but like, she doesn't care, and she'll do anything. She's like Trinidadian, and she just wants to cook you. She wants you to fuck her how you want to fuck her, and then she wants to cook you dinner afterwards. She just wants to wife you up.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell her I don't want a girlfriend. She's like, that's okay. I tell her I'm not sure I'm in love with my ex. She's like, that's okay. Some people just want to love you, and like it's really weird when you find someone like that, and the more you try to push them away, the more like I could text her tonight, she'd come over. It's like, and so you try it a couple of times, but you're like, still it's not, and it's not because she's doing that, it's because she's not my person. She's not my, so like I have almost the perfect fuck buddy, and still I'm just like, that doesn't, if you're romantic, or if you're like if you have a nice romantic connection, then you feel a little empty. Like you don't, I mean, that's your first time having sex, or if you're trying to bump up your numbers or whatever, but like, if you actually like have that like good connection like that, and I've had the good connection with strangers, where like one girl, like just one night, I think I told you that last time we hung out, I think when you can have passionate connection with someone you've never done something with before, and maybe never will again, means that you're in the right vein, because like at that moment she had the experience emotionally and physically, and I did too, that we met and we both came like twice, and then fucking like, and then I think she went on with her life. She probably got in a relationship because she knew I wasn't really into dating her, but at our past we had something really good, and that made me feel like I'm in the right. But like with this girl, she wants to wife me up, and so it doesn't feel emotionally honest. If she was more like
if she were down for whatever, yeah.
But that's where I think I'm getting better at managing my impulses. And then with Yaya, I think I can be in that, but we're not at the right places in our life where she wants that and I want that. So that's what's throwing that off. So, but being in control of your impulses where you're not just like, all right, but I'm going to do it anyways just because I want to like fuck. It's like, That's why I was telling this young guy who was staying here. I was like, you can't fuck them all. Like, when you're young, you think you want to. But it's like the dog that chases the car idea. What are you going to do when you catch it? Like, once you've had a beautiful woman, once you've been with someone, my Armenian girlfriend, I mean, I thought she was, like, physically my best physical connection. Like, I could have, that's what I thought about marrying her. We both were like, she told me once, but it was what I was thinking right after sex. She was like, I never thought I could imagine just fucking one person the rest of my life, but, like, I could do this the rest of my life. And I was like, me too, kind of. But it's more than that.
Yeah, what happened? Why didn't that work?
That's a weighted issue. That was the closest I got recently. I blocked her.
Why?
Because that's the only way to break up with someone like that.
Yeah, but why did you have to break up with her?
She helped me write my autobio, so I blocked everyone but her, and then she really helped me through that period. I was really depressed, and I was like, and that was the one reason I thought we could never be together, because, like, we were, I thought that she would never understand my artistic side, and she actually stuck it out and read all my writing, and she said I was really good, and I was getting a lot of validation from her, and I was like, wow, maybe she can understand me as an artist. But then within, like, a couple weeks of that, she used it in a fight, and I was like, you don't do that. And it wasn't just that. I thought I was going to go out to LA, and I was thinking about giving up this life and just going out to LA and being like, maybe I should just wife her up, have kids, and like what you're thinking, kind of like, I should just start the family, start that phase of my life, and everything will come after. But, like, part of why I went into my rabbit hole, I read Bukowski, and, like, some of these guys, he was a late bloomer in his arts, and I was like, maybe I just need a family, and just, like, I'll have the next 10 years to get my art out. Let me concentrate on that first. Go to LA, reinvent myself with real estate out there. I know I can make money anywhere. I care about my family. And this girl, if I don't put attention into her, I'm going to lose her. And it's been a year she's been out there without me. So I'm like, I know it's shit or get off the pot.
With the Armenian girl? She was in LA?
For the last year. She was out here for 2 years. I dated her for 2 years. She went to LA for the last year. I haven't really put much effort into that relationship. She came out here for a couple visits.
Wait, you guys dated for a while?
2 years here, yeah.
What was her name?
Jackie.
Wait, I think I remember her. Yeah.
She was like, that was my best.
That was your person.
But, no, I figure that we had, like, I told her I was going to go out there. She was like, you can't just, it took a couple days, but she was like, you can't just come out here and, like, I'm not like that. You haven't, like, really talked to me and put time and effort into the relationship. You can't just come out here. But that's how I am. Like, I can. That's what I do. So the fact that she can't do it is like, no, there's structural differences between us that I'm ignoring. And then when she brought up the art, and she said something like, her interpretation of my writing was like an exhibition of a flaw in my character that I'll always be fighting with people unless I resolve this in myself. And I'm like, I think she was way off the mark with that. And on top of that...
Wait, that your writing is something that if you don't resolve, you'll be fighting?
For the rest of it was an interpretation of my art that I thought was like, it was like off limits. You don't bring someone's expression of the artistic self into the relationship to justify how you feel. Because in case you're wrong and that's a blind spot, you might damage their artistic view. Like, you don't, that's like supposed to be like off limits. Like, whatever you're creating is pure, and whatever me and you are doing, I'm not going to bring that into it as a tool.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to support, even if I don't want to be with you, like that.
Like, I just want to see you flourish.
It's going to be going on a lot longer than this. So don't try to act like, oh, she's a little presumptive in what she knows about me. And, I mean, maybe I threw a temper tantrum, but I was like, this is over, this is done. And we've done the back and forth. So when I decided it was done, it was like, all right, I agree, this is over. And then I blocked her so we don't have the back and forth. And
how long ago was that?
We had that argument the first week of January. And then I just like...
Blocking seems like an amazing tool.
For people like us, I don't know if you're like me, but like I go back always. And like Alicia, when I broke up with her, 5-year relationship, I had like a year or two of fucking, I kept trying to fuck her for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So like...
Well, what's nice for me is I generally don't break up with people when I still want to sleep with them.
Exactly.
So like I don't really have any exes that I want to sleep with still. Like, this guy is a little confusing for me because part of me still wants to, like, part of me doesn't feel done with him. So, but I also know nothing is gonna come. Like, he, like, literally, like, I, like, don't respect, like, I, like, there's...
You don't want to have sex with people you don't respect. That's a really bad place to be, too.
Yeah, no, but it's not that. I just, like, I don't know what I want from him. But I know that, like, nothing particularly good is gonna come from it.
For indecisive people, blocking is a commitment. I mean, I loved her more than I loved anyone to this point in my life, probably.
This is Armenian girl?
And that's why I blocked her, because I don't want to do that to her. Like, when it's over, to let her heal it. She needs some... I've kept her for a year on the string. That's already fucked up.
Yeah.
So it's like, it makes me look like a dick, but like, people, you have to take responsibility for the other person if you care about them.
Yeah.
Like, I had a friend tell me that way back when. She was like, it's my ex's birthday, but I'm not going to contact him because I need to give him space to heal. And I was like, that's so dope that you recognize that, because as a guy, I need that. I need women to give me a space to heal if I've been like, I don't need you to remind me about shit. And so that's what I'm doing to her. Is like, I'm not going to interact with her for probably a year. I need to give her time to fucking...
Yeah.
And then, like, if she hasn't dated anyone, and, like, that means something completely different, too. It's like...
Do you think there's any chance you'd get back together with her?
Fuck yeah. You always... For the ones that you really love, you carry with it for the rest of your life. I told Davina, like, I was madly in love with Davina when I was young.
Really?
Yeah, like, that's our whole connection. And we never consummated it. And so now we have this really cool connection, but, like... I'm really open with that. Like, she was my first, like, head over heels. Like, yeah, when I was, like, 21 and she was 17. And that was my first, like, girl that I went across the country. She tried to get attempted suicide, and I borrowed $500 from a friend and flew to Florida just to see her in the hospital. She had a boyfriend at the time. I had no idea about it. We have all sorts of crazy stories about it. I got arrested, thrown in jail for her ass. But I've learned that it's not romantic love. Like, that's what... You have to love deeply to learn what it means. And then you learn, alright, this is a romantic love, or this is more of a friendship. It's like...
What do you think romantic love is?
It's the one that checks all the boxes.
What are the boxes?
The boxes aren't your preferences. The boxes are like... You know, you need intellectual compatibility, which we have. But you also need, like, the ability to be vulnerable with the other person. You need a little bit of, like... There's intangibles. I don't know until you have those experiences. Like, I didn't know Jackie checked the boxes until I went to parties with her, and I just realized, like, we had this amazing night, and every single person was enamored by us and our energy, and every situation we were in, we solved perfectly. And I was on mushrooms, and she wasn't. But she's, you know, obviously she smokes weed, because that's just, like, my record.
Yeah.
But, we were always in the right place mentally and physically. And then you do all that, and at the end of the night, have great sex. And, like, you're just, like... You wake up and you're like, this is just how I want my life to be. This is a partner I want to fucking ride or die with. And I don't know if you can just quantify it, or if you try someone out, take them by the hand, go through some experiences, do some traveling, do some other shit, and then you just wake up one morning and that's when you decide to marry them. You wake up one morning and are like, this is my person, this is my partner. And a big thing with our Armenian girl is that she might need to marry an Armenian, because we were to that point. The discussions we were having in December was like, she was like, you know, our kid would have to be in Armenian school and all this stuff. It's like, no, the culture is so important to her as a victim of genocide.
Yeah.
It's like that, just like my writing comes before all else, culture comes before all else. Like, if I was going to consider it, I was planning on learning Armenian. Like, I would have to become her.
How did you guys meet?
NYU. But she was one of my clients. I made a list of clients. They were like, all my kid clients I tag as full service in my phone. And once I got my own place, I was like, yes, I could finally get a girlfriend. Because I'd hooked up with hostile people and randoms, but I was like, once I get a place, I could afford to fucking have a girlfriend, because I have a place to bring him back. That was my big Shaz coming up from, like, poverty.
Yeah, although now.
Yeah, right? Now I could fucking, that's how I got, now you have a cool place, you can get anyone you want. I could go down the corner to the fucking local bar, sit and grab a drink, and just tell people where I live, and within an hour I could probably swing someone back here to check out the roof. And then, if I'm not being a player, but, like, if I wanted to, I got a pretty easy pickup line.
Although you don't really, like, where would you have sex?
Oh,
I'm just like confused.
I used to hook up with girls in my car. It's like, if you have a little bit of game, you don't really have to. Once you get to that point, there's the charm carries you through the poverty.
Yeah.
But where would you?
I'm really like,
I'd be like, I gotta stay at that apartment for a couple hours. That's what's cool about me, Davina, and Yaya. We're pretty open about our shit too. We're pretty like, Davina was like, we should all just go out and get laid some night. We can't fuck each other. We should go out and I was like, dude, we would totally be successful. 2 chicks and a dude out in the prom, but we all like can't come home, and then
the only rule is nobody's allowed to come home tonight.
That's what I told these girls when they first moved in here. It was like, no one's allowed to bring boys back. But then I'm not really bringing girls home.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
it's tough. It's cool that you're going through that too. Like, romance, especially like in your 30s, you start taking it more seriously than your 20s?
I feel really like I would love to have something real. But I mean, it's tough to know, like, you know, Devin and I,
Maybe he's your guy.
He's not. He's I mean, we tried. He's not.
Yeah.
But we did, and we still do have a sense of profound partnership, in which it's just like when we're together, it's we see a lot very similarly. There are things we see very differently, and it became too much.
Is he happy? Is he with someone right now?
He was with somebody for a while. I mean, he, I think, is I think on one level he really wants a partner, but he's also like, I think he's really enjoying his freedom.
Some dudes, I see myself, I could go into my 50s just probably fucking randoms. Like,
yeah,
some dudes,
I mean,
we can just go out to pasture if you want.
And he's, I don't understand. I mean, he just like really does well for himself. So.
Well, he's smart, charming, and charismatic, and all that stuff.
Yeah, but he doesn't think about the experience of the other person that much. Like, no, not sexually, but just it's interesting to me to like imagine him like picking up a girl, because he doesn't use the apps or anything. He picks people up.
That's awesome. Yeah,
he picks people up on the dance floor. He like.
That's how you stay sharp. The apps are fucking for people with no social skills.
The apps. I mean, I don't really know.
It's like, how are you gonna not pick out your own produce? You're ordering your food from Amazon Prime? What the fuck is, that's not how you live. You don't, it's like...
I don't really know where to meet people. Like, I would love to meet more people.
If you're not meeting enough people, you're not living a full life. Like, especially in a city like New York, you should be meeting 5 dateable people a day.
Well, I know, that's the thing. I think for a long time, my world was really big, but this full-time job shit, it's like, I mean, you were working in service.
You want to go get a drink tonight? I was going to go catch a liquor game.
Well, I'm supposed to,
that's where we are in each other's lives, Leah.
What?
I should be your wingman. I have a very good intuitive sense of people.
You could be my wingman. I have to, at some point, I need to meet up with these people, but it's probably not going to be for another, like, hour or more. So, what?
I ain't keeping you here.
You're not keeping me here. I'm rather enjoying your company.
You gotta meet Yaya. Have you met Yaya?
No.
Isn't that a great name?
Mm-hmm.
You know that lady from Modern Family, the Mexican?
I haven't. Yeah, I do.
She speaks like her heavy Mexican accent.
Mm-hmm.
She's an awesome energy. You told me, but like when we first met, I coined a term because of her. I don't make friends, I find them. And when I found her, I like a little bit of testing, and I was like, oh, that's my fucking ride or die homie. She's like. At one point, I thought, wow, this is my girl. But then at my most recent mushroom trip, I realized, no, I fell in love with the moon, not her. Because I went up there and I saw the moon exactly where I saw behind her head when I first tripped out with her, and I was like, no, that was it. That was the trip. It wasn't. But yeah, no, she has a really good presence. She has a really good.
I'd love to. Yeah, I mean, I know. I do worry about.
She's in the same position as you and me. We're all trying to find our partner, though.
I do worry about whether I'm living a full life, and it's my job. Really, like, I'm there all the time, and it's so good to feel so purposeful in some ways, and in other ways, I'm just like, I need to just be more. You know, in the summer I always am. In the summer I'm going a mile a minute and nobody can keep me down. In the winter things slow down a bit.
Yeah, the winter definitely depresses you in New York.
Yeah, or it just slows you down. And for me it's really a virtue because the way I go all spring and summer, like you couldn't go that way all year round. Like and so this is a really valuable time to not feel guilty about not going out all the time and, you know.
Yeah, right, yeah. No, yeah, when the spring and summer comes out, you just try to, like, do as much as you can.
Yeah, but what do you do? Like, where do you meet people? I mean, I guess you run a hostel.
Yeah, I got a new system now. But, no, like, we could just go sit somewhere at a bar. That's one way. And then just fucking nurse a drink. Don't get shit-faced. And even if you're like, oh, I don't want to meet a bunch of drunks or I don't want to meet a bunch of partiers, there'll be other people doing exactly what you're doing. Maybe not all of them, but eventually you'll run across someone who just needed to get out for a drink. A normal person that you wouldn't have run across. That's what a bar is. Any other time in your life you want to run across them because they're a different industry, maybe even a different city. But for some reason you're in that same place at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, if we had weed cafes, that's what they would be. You know, a park too. But like social settings sometimes are cool, but like a bar is cool because if you're alone at a bar, there's a context there already. I'm probably single and it's probably okay to talk to me. And so going
Yeah,
alone
although,
at
you
a
know,
bar
it's-
invites attention, and you
Which
just
is
have
tough. Last
you
night
have to be good at nipping it in the bud.
I know,
If
last
this isn't
night-
going anywhere, like, get the fuck out of here. You're taking space.
Yeah, last night I met a couple of friends at a bar, and I met a friend who was with another friend, and so it was the three of us, and I really didn't like her friend. She was just a little annoying. And it's just like, I value my time in such a way that I'm like, there's no reason for me to be stuck here with somebody who I don't find interesting. Like, books exist. So it's just like, I'm gonna go dancing right now, so I'm just like gonna go to this other place to go dancing. I go dancing alone is easy for me, but I went to this bar where I thought there'd be dancing and there wasn't, and so then I just rolled up to a bar by myself for a little bit, and it was nice. I never do that, but this guy came up and talked to me for a while, and he just wasn't more interesting than being alone.
And this is where my sales comes in. Like, it's just numbers. So, like, that's a lead, pass it by, do the next one. It's like, it's not being cynical, it's just being rational. There's so many people out there. And also,
So how do you see that as being different from online dating?
because you have so many more connections going on in your subconscious brain that online dating stops you from. Pheromones. You might just not be compatible on a physical smelling level. I was just talking to Tomas about that. Some people smell like attractive, and then some people, to me, smell like garlic.
But I'm very efficient when I don't online date much. When I do, I'm very efficient about it.
You don't get any of that physical pheromone stuff there.
Before I meet somebody, I try to I Google them and I try to find video of them,
Now,
just
now that's not how.
No. But at least then I'm seeing their physicality.
Exactly.
I'm seeing
No,
them
I
in
get
motion.
you. You're trying
and then
to make up
when
for
I
it.
do meet somebody in person,
It's already so much more work.
No, what I do, I look for people I have friends in common with, which I know is not random, but it's like I have.
This is all for one person, right?
But this is not a lot of work. This is you think
How
it's a lot.
long is it? 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Because the actual meeting of them happens.
So now, how much is that background work? 5 minutes? 10 minutes?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay. Now I could scan a bar and do the same thing. And I could do that with 5 people within 1 minute. And I could leave to the next bar if I'm not getting good results, because every bar attracts a certain type of person. Because that goes on the other subconscious level too.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I was going to mention that. Like, me being a student of New York now, and New York culture, I could tell you which bars would give you different types of dating life.
So tell me.
Little Branch would give you hipsters. It's right down the street on Morden and 7th Avenue. The deeper your cuts you go into West Village, you're going to get into more locals. And the West Village is a good social status. So if you meet someone who's not in finance or a lawyer in the West Village, they're probably doing something awesome. Because usually you have to be in a stupid industry in order to afford the money.
Yeah.
So if they're not doing that and they're not inherited money, they're probably like me, some really crazy entrepreneur. They might be an artist, or they might be another creative. Now, if you meet a creative who's living in the village, that's fucking like top pick right there. Now you just have to qualify, because think about it. If they're creative living in the village, they've made it. Because if you're creative, you're living in the Lower East Side or something, or not even in Manhattan. You need a. I mean, I have so much. I should write a dating book. Don't date people.
Yeah, help me.
Don't date creatives in Brooklyn, first of all, because that's the bottom slim pickings. Date a creative.
What do you mean Brooklyn is slim pickings?
Because that's where creatives who haven't made it live.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Okay, so get
Date a creative who lives in a creative. I live in the village because this is one of the best neighborhoods in the world, the best neighborhood in New York, bar none.
For what?
Everything. You tell me, and I'll tell you why my neighborhood's the best.
I mean, it's
Density,
great for
people,
that. Is
yeah.
that is for
That's
that?
historic context. Yeah.
Although you have this mirror blocking it.
Yeah. It just I like to. There's a little bit of energy going out, a little bit of energy coming back in. I don't want the Eye of Sauron looking right into my fucking apartment.
Eye of Sauron, what's that?
The fucking One World Trade Center.
Oh, is that what that is?
Largest building on the Western Hemisphere.
Wait,
behind the mirror. I don't need that shit looking right in. That's where Condé Nast has their headquarters.
Yeah, but this thing is so good.
Oh, the church.
Yeah.
That's another. I mean, what, like Christianity is a part of the Christianity is a kludgeon of the Western intellectual tradition.
I don't know. I really like that church.
I like the church. Check this out. The church is the biggest building around, right?
Yeah.
Why is the bank the nicest building in any town? Because they have all the money. So that church had all the money. How did the church have all the money? Because immigrants would come to the church to be told who to vote for and who to work for.
Mm-hmm.
And so the church was a director of immigrant society. Mm-hmm. And so that church was built and that's why Father Domo got his statue up there. It cost a lot of money to build a building like that.
Mm-hmm.
Classic Greek architecture.
Mm-hmm.
And so that just shows you how important that church was when it was built. The church used to run shit back at the turn of the 20th century. So that church, fuck the religion, and even fuck the culture and everything and the beauty. I like the church just because it's a totem of power. 100 years ago, that church was very important. Like, that church was a gangster. Like, that's like having, like, that's like living above a fucking bar where they used to dissolve bodies in vats. Like,
Can you teach me a chord?
of course.
Yeah.
What's your, do you know anything?
Mm-mm. I'm stuff on the uke.
Oh, Davina has a uke. You know the
Yeah.
uke?
Oh, only a little bit. But what? Teach me
That's
guitar.
You
I
play
don't-
uke and I'll play...
No. I don't actually play uke that well. I would love to learn a guitar chord.
Put your finger right there.
Which finger that finger?
And then here. And then... wait. Back. And then this. Right there. There we go. Ta-da! That's an E.
That's an E?
That's an E.
One.
E for empathy. Alright, but you got good dexterity. You get good quick.
I don't think I do have such good dexterity.
Alright, you can pick out individual strings. Not able to do that.
Well, but I have a ukulele.
Alright, that's what. Then we just need to give you another one. And then a D. It's good. I like being sleepy at night. It makes me feel.
Are you feeling sleepy?
No, I just like young. You know, it's like it's not sleepy. It's just like energy slowing.
String instruments are the best.
I'll sing you a song. Where's Davina? We should get Davina in here. We'll play some music. We'll record it. No, really?
I mean,
play
I knew you
guitar?
had.
You knew I had it, but it was one of those things.
Well, I remember from your roof you had the guitar and the uke, and you didn't know how to play the uke.
I never played guitar, aren't you? Yeah, because we're always so like. Oh, Leah, this is your song. It's never half right. It's never half wrong. She works for public radio all night and all day. Oh, Leah, this is your song that I can play. Leah, this is your song. Leah, this is your song. I wrote that like a year ago. What's something? I have one. Most of my songs, actually, that's funny. Like a lot of my songs from my youth were written about doing. I have songs written about other people. There's this one. Oh, there's this one blues one I got. Whiskey woman, you do me wrong. I should do some other wax. Whiskey woman, don't be so strong. Whiskey woman, don't be kind. Whiskey woman, you're burning in my mind, in my mind, in my mind. Won't tell you no lies. I love you one night at a time. Got your house by yourself. You don't need anybody's help. Got your guitar, wanna sing. You don't need any harmony. It's like that type of song. It's a good song.
I like this.
Yeah, it's my own song.
It's nice.
I got a couple songs that like sound like real songs.
Yeah, it sounds like a real song for sure.
That's part of like not working so much is getting back into my artistic scene. And this is like my little love song. Break like a woman across the corner of my bed. Feel like a poor boy should. Got a sack of firewood. Evening's turning red. And if you're telling me things I don't understand, shake like a tambourine. metal scream. I love you best that I can, or something like that. That's pretty much my style. It's like just a lot of finger picking. What else is there? Because I'm not gonna play all my crazy songs.
I'm really enjoying it.
It's a good mood. Like that's what music, like a drug, sets an emotional mood, and the better you get at it, the better you get at like. I get better at singing when I get better at doing that. I'm thinking of my favorites, all my like little favorite songs, because I don't know many other people's songs, but I have like about 10 to 20 that I've made. I'm trying to think. Like I honestly, like they're not at the top of my brain. They're like a feeling, and I'll be like, oh, I'll play this. So that one doesn't really have words. This one I played in Puerto Rico, but I really like the rhythm. Oh, here, I'll play this one. This was when I was in jazz chords. I hate your taste in music. I hate your taste in men. I hate the taste of cigarettes dripping off your lips again. I hate you when you're sober. I hate you on your knees. I hate it when you make me say, oh God, I have to say, please don't go away. Built for you rose petal castles in the sky. And that's why you can tell that was a I'm sorry song. Please don't go away. Built for you rose petal castles in the sky. Oh, that's why. I ain't got no more words, so you scat. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Join me, Leah. Da 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 do 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 do. If you don't know how to scat, you just sing like a Muppet.
I don't think I can do that.
Yeah, that's what's like, it gets you out of the rational brain. Just making noise. And then I got this one that the girl's like. This song was written. Wait. That's what it is. That's what it is. I like this song because I wrote 3 songs and I didn't finish them. So I put them all together. So I call it 3 songs. So it's 3 disjointed chords. This song was written, girl, she was bitten, venom it reached to the soles of her feet. Couldn't complete the walk home. She had to live on that beach. I built her a lean-to made out of driftwood. I didn't mean to stay there so long. It was only supposed to be one song. But I ended up on that beach. And I have to think of the next verse. Big enough to shake the world. She's got a Sunday dress and a mother's pearls. Seminary lost its charm. Sunday dress in a young boy's arms. Every time I lay beside her, elephants and tigers. Every time I'm inside her, elephants and tigers. They come break me, scramble me. We make eggs like we're family. Let's take up in the chapel. You pick the flowers, we'll start a family tree. favorite part of it all. They come break me and scramble me. She makes eggs like we're family. Let's take up in the chapel. You pick the flowers. We'll start a family tree. Every time I lay beside him. Elephants and tigers. That should be a song, right? That's like vagues to like.
Mm-hmm.
And so Yaya and Davina and I, we were like, we should make a band, call it Elephant and Tigers. And I'm the elephant and they're the tigers. Isn't that great? Elephant and Tigers.
Elephant tigers.
And I got one last one that you'll probably.
It's funny. This is really bringing me back. I mean, all my, all of my early times with men involved them playing guitar.
Oh, maybe that's why. When I wanted to push you over the edge, I never pulled out the guitar. That's how.
I haven't been seduced by a guy with a guitar in a long time, but all of my early seductions were guys with guitars.
That's how pure my intentions were. That I never.
You didn't even pull out the big guns.
Didn't I even pull because I thought, you know what? If we're not on the same page on that one thing, why even? But if I did, I would have pulled out this song.
Let's hear it.
No, not that one. Do you know Neutral Milk Hotel?
Not well, but yeah. I met Jeff Mangum the other night.
Say what?
I met Jeff Mangum the other night.
The other night?
Well, because he's, do you know Astor Taylor? They're married. And do you know who Astor Taylor is? Oh, she was an Occupy person and is also
drumstick. Really? She was an actress?
but she's also like a really prominent like.
Yeah, he lives in Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, she's like a prominent public intellectual. Anyway, so Astor and I know each other, so I ran into her and she was with her husband. So I met Jeff.
Jeff changed my life when I was young. Like that's fucking like that's some of us are like he's a hero, but like I wouldn't geek out fanboy, but like I went to his concert to Cause Drumstick, and that's one of the few prized possessions that like I went to. They did a Neutral Milk Hotel reunion tour, and that was like me and my sister went tripping on moon rocks, like Uncut Molly, and it was like. Easily, like, probably top experience. Like, if you asked her, what's your best experience with your brother, she'll be like, both of us would be like, that was it. We ran, we were late to the concert, they just started playing, we ran in right when we started tripping, it started raining, and at the end of the concert, they throw the drumstick and I catch it. Like, it was just fucking...
Is she younger than you?
3 years.
So you're the middle.
But so I would have sung you this song. This is my panty dropper. Wait. Tell me what happens when a girl's eyes fill with the lights of a city on the top of a hill, and the stars all conspire to come out tonight, and the moon burning bright like a funeral pyre.
You really channeled.
Now we're young and we're stupid just like a disease. With your tongue in my throat and your throat at my knees. Oh, and didn't your mother teach you to say please? Oh, leave me alone once you're done with me, lover. This is my cathartic song. Oh, and now you're the maid with the sad letter writing. And how many boys did you drown with your crying? Nowhere to be found when I was left dying. The whole world trying to put me in the ground. This is my embodiment of male angst. And here's to the girl with the miracle hips. Oh, and freckles that melt into delicate lips. And everything wrong traces back to that kiss. Oh, and you're such a bitch. Here I throw you a song. There's another verse, but I swear to it. Oh, that feels so good to sing though. That really clears the vocal cords. But the only way you can sing that song is that way, and that's why it's so good. The lyrics and the screaming and the wailing.
Here I wrote you a song.
Right? Yeah, but you hang on the bitch, and there's a whole nother, like, that's pretty much every Bob Dylan song if you dig into it. Not everyone, but a lot of his early shit is just him shit-talking women in a pretty way.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's just disgruntled male energy.
Yeah, don't think twice, it's all right.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, damn, Bob, passive aggressive.
Yeah, right.
more song.
What are you trying?
This is one of my favorite songs. Not written, and one of the only songs I learned actually, like on purpose, just so I could sing whenever I want. And I played in like different situations and made a lot of friends doing it because it's like deep cuts enough that people don't know it. It's by Lyle Lovett. If I was Roy Rogers, sure enough be single. Couldn't bring myself to marry any old Dale. Just me being Trigger, riding through the movies by a boat on a seaweed sail. If I had a boat, go out on the ocean. If I had a pony, ride him on my boat. We can all together go out on the ocean, just me upon my pony on my boat. The mystery masked man was smart, got himself a Tonto, 'cause Tonto did the dirty work for free. Tonto, he was smarter, one day said Kimosabi, kiss my ass, I bought a boat, I'm sailing out to sea. And if I had a boat, go out on the ocean. And if I had a pony, ride him on my boat. We can all together just go out on the ocean. Just me upon my pony on my boat. Now if I moved like lightning, wouldn't need no sneakers, could come and go wherever I did please. I'd scare 'em by the shade tree, scare 'em by the light pole, would not scare my pony on my boat out on the sea. And if I had a boat, go out on the ocean. And if I had a pony riding on my boat, we can all together go out on the ocean. Just me upon my pony on my boat. Just me upon my pony, upon my boat. That's like it's like child imagery in a sense, and then there's so much stuff in there. If I was Roy Rogers, there's anti-imperialism, colonialism, anti-given narrative. Like and it's not heavy-handed. All of the wisdom of my politics riding under the belly of an innocent child song. And it's not even maybe intentional. It's just like, if I was Roy Rogers, I'd sure enough be single. Couldn't bring myself to marry any old Dale. Because I want to be the hero, but I'm too young to know about being with a woman. I'd ride through the movies, and on the boat I'd sail. And it's that whole, I want to be the hero, and I want a pony, and I want a boat, and I'm going to put the pony on boat. And you could come too, maybe, on my pony on my boat. It's like how a kid talks. It's like, and the mystery masked man was smart. He got himself a Tonto, because Tonto did the dirty work for free. Because children even know injustice. Why is Tonto the helper?
It's really explaining
But
the song.
Tonto, he was smarter. And one day I said, Kimosabi, kiss my ass. I bought a boat, and I'm sailing out to sea. Children just want to be fair and free. And then we add a bunch of complication afterwards. And he says, if I move like lightning, if I had ultimate power, I wouldn't need no sneakers, because children hate lines. I'd move and go wherever I did please, freedom again. I'd scare 'em by the light pole, I'd scare 'em by the shade tree, all these cool little child words. But I would not scare my pony on my boat out on the sea, because to children some things are inviolate, some things you don't violate. It's a really beautiful, like I don't know many songs better written. And that's like when Julia Roberts married Lyle Lovett, people are like, why'd you marry an ugly looking country singer?
Well, because a mind who could create a song like that is a mind who can seduce a girl like Julia Roberts, America's Sweetheart. Like, there's something to like the person who can create the best creative. I don't know. That's just like, even if I don't know any of his other songs, but that's enough for me to be like, that's a really cool dude, and I don't know anything else. I should get into him eventually.
But that was I love it.
I just respect the hell out of the songwriting, and I learned it from Dave Matthews, because I love Dave Matthews, and if he loves a lot of love it, then I should love a lot of love it. You know, your heroes love heroes. Like, you should.
I love that you had such an ambitious schedule for yourself.
You notice that?
Yeah.
That's part of my breakdown, because it was getting to December. It was like, fuck, I haven't done shit, and then that was like energy fast. All my distractions off. And I am healthier for it, I think. I don't know if you think I'm happier, but
So,
I think
so how do you structure your... Are you social? Like, outside of this...
I don't have to be now, right?
Yeah, well, because that's the thing. Like, sometimes at the end of a workday, it's like, oh, wow, I'm so excited. Now I have a few hours that I have, like, to myself to, like, be creative in my own way or something like that. But I feel so hungry for the social that I end up just going out.
You need impulse control. You can't even put your phone down without, like, coming back to it. I know you say you're working and it's a Friday, but, like, you've always been like that. You're like, you just need...
Oh, no, this I'm managing a bunch of shit right now,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
You need,
I have impulse control.
yeah, that's...
I mean, probably around my phone is where I have the least impulse control.
Carve out more space for Leah to be late.
Yeah, no. I'm just trying to think of... No, I've been getting better at it. I've been going out way less recently, and it's been feeling great.
But that's exactly opposite of what you just asked me. How do you socialize in and put more people back into your life?
No, that's not what I'm asking.
No, is it? That's what you asked.
Oh, no. I'm not worried about having more people. Well, before I was saying newness. Like,
Let's
I
take
want
a drink.
to be...
Let's not get too far into it. Let's just me and you go out for more social drinks and see if we run
I'm just
across
curious about...
awesome people.
Frankly, I'm just curious about how you structure your time. Like, it's less... I'm less, like, looking for, advice than I'm...
I've been noticing energy flows. When I'm most creative and least creative. And so sometimes, like right now, I get on the computer and try to run through, like, my compendium of notes that I've accumulated over the last year.
I love your big screen.
Oh, that was on my shopping list for a year or two. I was like, that is, yeah, this chair, the desk, mid-century modern, fucking $600. Like, some things, it's not that you need the most expensive, but you get yourself, like, I got myself a World War II typewriter. Little things that tell you yourself you've made it. Like,
Yeah.
I've done so much good work on this because I might keep this desk all my life. I was thinking I wouldn't really improve on this desk. I love it. I love this chair. This chair, actually, I have to improve because it's breaking, but...
Yeah. I think that I
like,
need stuff like that.
Yeah, treat yourself with... But be careful because you buy it and then it's not really what you need and then you're like, now you're just going to buy something else. But
You gotta keep leveling up.
I'm not going to
Yeah.
buy another monitor.
Well, that was,
Look at
Devin's
you
advice to me.
You want to see how much work I have going on right now? I do so much productive work on this. Like,
Yeah.
The multiple monitor thing is crazy. But look at how much shit I have going on.
I have 2 monitors.
And here, let me call this. Right now, I'm doing a fucking digesting project. And so, oh no, this should actually be up. So I'm able to fucking 2 different browsers and then 3 different fucking Word docs. And then I have 2 different chatting apps. And I still have an audiobook down here in the bottom going. But like, I have a lot of stuff going on at the same time. And like, at one point, like, I can have 6, 7, 8, 10 different Word docs. And when you're writing, that's my process. Is I have notes, I have drafts, I have the chapter outline, I have research, something else, and then of course I have to have my browsers in case I need to research shit. So like, I'm just the type of person, I need it all in front of me. And so the huge monitor, this is barely enough real estate for me to actually do my creative process like I want to do. And then an external hard drive and a whole lot of space. And this isn't even the right background. Hold up, because this thing fucked up like it always does. Fucking A. Desktop. Here we go. These shit, I don't know why Apple does this, but he does. He don't seem like it be what he is. What the fuck? Desktop. Center. Stretch to field. Nope. Center. There we go. Put these away. So I keep it like this because also I'm big on, like, just like this, anything is used as a tool. So I created my calendar for the next, like, oh, that's interesting. I love doing this. I write with marker underneath, so that way you don't erase it. I messed it up recently, but this is a 10 by 10 calendar. So it goes from the winter equinox to the spring equinox. And then all of these marks are telling me, like, this is a Friday, Thursday, Sunday, Tuesday. So I took the first 2 letters in each of the day of the week and then created a little fucking code with it, just to practice in creativity. But it gives me a good sense of, like, I was going to create a calendar. I'm not going to do the 7 by 7 Gregorian. I'm going to do a 100-day Shaz calendar. And I started at day 50, but I was taking myself out of my rut into my profitability of my blog. And then I made a little button. I ruined it, so now I can't. I actually just ruined this with my toes while I was talking to you. But there's a button, so I pushed this on March 31st. But it's just a little device. Monetize the truth on the bottom. Most of the stuff I put out of reach, so that way it's my most important. And then and even this, I put it like that, but once it starts getting erased, it's like, all right, it was made there for a reason. And then these, I haven't gone through these notes. I've learned to give myself different gears. Like, I have my note-taking, like this, right here, a business. This is my mugshot. This is my political party I want to start. That's a pretty good logo, right?
When were you arrested?
Florida. Check it out.
Sabina.
Yeah, her boyfriend called the cops on us while we were smoking weed in his apartment.
Really?
Yeah. Look at this was
What?
on my
That's
mushroom
insane.
fucking trip. I was just like, it feels really interesting to like try to write out your mushroom. Like, what the fuck does this mean? I want to, like, that's what I want to do with you, Leah. Like, we'll trip out with all these fucking cue cards.
Yeah.
And then...
We should probably do this.
What?
Get rid of shit.
But what if we tripped out and then we had a bunch of cue cards and we fucking created detritus, like, creative fucking... I don't know. I think we have, like, maybe we're meant to, like, create, like, we have some creation between us that is meant to come out eventually.
You and I?
Yeah.
I should, maybe I for some reason
There's a
I've been,
reason
like,
for
really
something.
skeptical of this book.
Oh, that book? Oh, have you read it? Or
But I
like,
haven't. No, I've been skeptical of it because it seems like one of the principles of it is to just throw things out and then you have to buy them again. It's like for rich people.
Right. No, but you throw things out. I mean, I believe in parts of that, but it's just, I'm a big believer in, like, especially stuff like that, intuitive knowledge. Like, I'm going to read that book when I have time, but I'm not too up on it because I'll probably just read it to affirm stuff I've already lived by. Like, yeah, love everything you have. Always go through and throw out. I threw out most of my shirts except my hippie shirts. I bought all these shirts so I could throw out everything else so I get out of style.
Yeah.
These are all curbside clothing.
You were like, I'm gonna develop a style,
Yeah.
like consciously. Yeah.
Of, like, artisanal drawings that support local, like, or not local, but small artists.
Yeah, so something that I struggle with, I think something that really drives me nuts in my space is that, like, that my roommate is a bit of a hoarder, and so there's all this stuff around that I don't like.
You have
and
some of the issues with my brother does the same thing in his life. You make compromises that I wouldn't, that affect your quality of life.
Yeah,
But you
tell
do
me,
it because
tell me
you're
about
less...
that.
My brother and I have analyzed this a lot because I try to get him into real estate.
Yeah.
You're more risk averse.
Yeah, I am more risk averse.
He was doing real estate with me, and he didn't like the fact that he didn't know when his paycheck was coming. You told me the same thing about this radio job. You want to have a solid paycheck. You also got
Solid paycheck, and also I've gotten a lot from it in terms of structure and
Yeah.
routine that I needed. Yeah.
Exactly. But then that risk aversion means that you'll make sacrifices in the quality of life,
Tell me.
and now that's what you're suffering from.
Yeah, I'd like to
So
hear. I'd like
maybe
to hear what you have to say.
If you can improve your quality of life, that might mean increasing a little bit of volatility and risk into your life. And that's a trade-off you're wanting right now. Now, if you do it too much, it won't be worth the trade-off, because I seen it in my brother. Is that like...
Well, it's stabilized some things, so it can handle volatility in other areas.
I think so.
Right,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
my work shit is like really together.
Yeah.
So what would volatility on the home front look like is something that I've thought about a lot, and I was really considering moving.
Yeah, moving.
And it is a risk aversion because, frankly, I'm in a rent-stabilized apartment, and if my roommate leaves, I just have like a killer
You're dating
deal.
right now. What if you date and within the next couple months meet someone and then you guys go in on an apartment? Like, maybe, because New York is so much about relationships. Like, if you date and within 6 months are in a serious enough relationship that you want to take a step and then jump in on a lease with them, that would solve both problems. Now, I'm not saying you should only date for that.
Well,
but
no,
why
no,
not
of course.
have that in the back of your mind? Like, maybe I can get in a relationship, get a really good place,
Well,
plus fucking get into a
Right. So does that
stepping
mean?
stone
So does
to-
that mean stay where I am
Yeah.
now?
If you're seriously dating and you're single, stay where you're at now and just sort of put that intention softly out there. That's how I would do it. It's like maybe within 3-4 months I might meet a guy who eventually I would want to move in with. So like maybe, because if you move now, you're committing yourself to a place. Or
You're
maybe,
never committing yourself that hard to a place. I'm
especially
committing
not in
myself
New
to
York,
volatility while I move.
The other question is, dating is such a huge, or where you live in New York is such a huge dating filter that might be your problem. If you moved, you would totally fucking shake up the fucking Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, I wonder what that would look like. Where
You're stuck in a rut.
I've lived in my
That's what you're
neighborhood for
talking about
years.
a
Yeah,
little bit.
I do feel like I'm stuck in a rut of sorts. So where would I move to?
What can you afford?
I can afford anything, but like where
I'm
can
moving
I?
to my neighborhood.
I mean, I literally, the idea of jumping from paying $800 a month in rent to
2,000.
what could I get for 2,000?
A decent studio around here. You can get a decent studio in Manhattan fuck Manhattan. Get a little 1-bedroom for $2,200 on the Upper West Side off the Park, and you'll be 30 minutes away from work, but it'll give you so much time back. And then you have so many good dating neighborhoods between the fucking West Village and the Upper West Side. There's so many fucking
Who's on the Upper West Side?
people who live and work in Manhattan. Successful people. Like, that's what you're acting like a college kid, Leah.
No, I know
You're a grown-ass woman. Live in a grown-up neighborhood around other adults who have careers, and people who have careers who work in Manhattan live in Manhattan. That's just like you're
nobody
trying to
I
hold
know
on to
lives
fucking,
in Manhattan.
your type of people. But if you lived in Manhattan, you would meet people who live in Manhattan. It's just all of my clients live in Manhattan. Not all of them are douchebags. A lot of them are just fucking professionals in their industry who take their work seriously enough to not have to fucking take multiple trains to get there because they know that work is important to them. Their careers. I know working fucking musicians, people in media, fucking graphic designers. I know a girl who owned her own dance studio and she fucking hired her own teachers and shit. She was my age. She was my hookup. She had her life in order, her own business. That's why we hooked up. Cause like we were very similar, entrepreneur wise, and she fucking.
I do worry that I'm just like around losers.
I didn't want to say it.
I mean, do you know how bluntly I speak? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm also like,
Not around losers. It's just try something different. If you can afford it, try a Manhattan apartment and see what happens. Now I'm not saying fucking do it to fucking date douchebags, because there's a lot of douchebags here, but not all of them. If I live in the Village, I'd live in the Upper West because of the quality of life it gives you. You're off the park, you get that nature, the affordability, it's almost as cheap as the Upper East. Your access on 2 train lines down to the Village, which is my favorite neighborhood. And also for $25, I could get a fucking 1 bed with a sunken living room off of Central Park.
I'm just worried about like losers and douchebags being the 2 options.
In Manhattan, that's what. I mean, before you move to Manhattan, let's go out a couple times and let me show you like some awesome people. But I meet awesome people on a consistent basis here. They're a little bit sheltered. Some of them like don't realize the privilege with which they got their Manhattan ticket. A lot of these guys are like, you know, they needed parents' money in order to get them in the city. A lot of like, they say that half of the purchases are by foreign money. I'd say half of the rentals are by guarantors, like a lot of guarantor money. But other than that, you know, you can't.
Yeah, the guarantor shit. That is the last thing that I want.
Really,
people who are still
also,
like here on their guarantors.
At your age bracket, you're not dating guys in their 20s anyways. So like you're doing upper 20s. You're probably doing 30s to 40.
Yeah, I think I can't date guys in their 20s at all.
Yeah.
I think I need at least 30.
So most people in our bracket, like think about it, most people in our bracket have been working for about 10 years and know what they want in their career path. That's what I am. I'm like, if I'm gonna make money other than my art, it's gonna be in real estate. Like people at our age pretty much have figured out what we want to do. So you'll meet some awesome people. We just need to. You're thinking about it too much. We need to go out more as single people.
No, this is really. I mean,
me, you,
Shaz,
Davina, Yaya.
I take.
We have a crew.
I respect the way that you live.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah. And that makes me open to feedback from you in a way that I don't know that I'm open to feedback from everybody, because one of the things I've never been drawn to going to therapy, but also one of the reasons is because I'm just like,
what does this person know that I don't?
Yeah, I feel pretty fucking wise, like just like. And
don't even take my like advice, but let's just do a couple things together.
Well, okay, you want to go out right now?
Right now, there is
You're
a
like,
big
no.
game. No. I mean, I always try to give myself another reason to go out, other than just prowling. Even if it's just let's try a bar.
Yeah, me too.
I'm kind of broke-ish. You want to buy me a drink?
Okay, I'll buy you a drink. No, I don't have to.
Oh, you know what? Buy me a drink. I'll show you a couple bars, a couple deep cut bars, that like places I would take my sister. When my sister was single, I'd take her to some places that I thought maybe we'll meet some cool people. Trying to fucking expand her horizons. Fuck, you know, my sister, she was in let's go out. Let me, yeah, you might want to, I don't know, me and you, we should. I mean, tonight, oh, it's on ESPN. The Lakers game at 10:30.
I want to. This seems great. You know, for whatever. I
You
don't
want to
know
borrow
why-
that book? Borrow it.
No, I'll just buy it. It's okay.
No, books are meant to be shared. What do you mean buy? We don't need to fucking multiply our fucking singers, like blah blah blah. Isn't that book's been sitting on my desk for a year? You should, by the time you read and give it back to me, I fucking wanted to read it by then. Yeah, maybe that's what you need.
I need this. Oh, also, my roommate needs this.
Your roommate needs this. Your energy is being affected by the people you live with.
I know.
And not in a positive way.
I know.
Look at Leah. The light looks really cool with you. I take really good pictures of you. You remember that one I took on the roof?
That was great.
I think that's a sign of people who care about you, people who take good pictures of you because they see you in a beautiful light.
I think that's true too. It's true, and you know, Devin never took nice pictures of me.
Really? I mean, but then also some people just don't have an aesthetic eye. Like, I kind of like a pseudo photographer.
No, it's funny. I was talking to my other roommate about this last night, and because he had sent a picture. He sent me pictures I could use in my dating
I feel
profile.
like Devin loves you from just my interactions. Like,
But what he sees, he just sees me in such a strange way.
yeah.
Like he sent me these pictures that he was like, these are really nice pictures of you, and they were just like horrible. And it's like, I'm just like, what do you find beautiful about me? It's interesting.
Yeah, but that's kind of cute. That's like, he finds you beautiful in a a way that you can't relate to is kind of like cute.
No, certainly that I can't relate to. Yeah.
What did he find beautiful about those pictures? Did he ever explain himself?
Mm-mm.
Did I tell you I ran into him and his mom on the street?
I think you told me.
That was weird. Well, next time you see me, I'll have some lamb's breath, and then we can try out the strain of weed that Bob Marley smokes. So dope. Yeah, we need more of this. Like, come over, we'll play some music, and we'll just chill. And then, I think, yeah, less analysis and more, living. Fuck, if I go out, that means I have to put on pants, so. Maybe we'll plan this out.
What?
We'll plan this out, because you have to leave early anyways. I hate that. You're always like, I'm glad because you've given me a couple hours of your time without constraint. Like, you usually have to come and go. But, yeah, we'll do another, nice little, I hate it when you have to, when you cut things short. Because I get hyped up, and then, you're always like, this is one of the few times that we've hung out that I haven't felt like you had to rush off. and it's cool. It's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go back to work for a little bit and then watch. I'm gonna scrape some resin because poor Yaya didn't pick up her herb, and that's one of the reasons I love her so much. Is she looks at medicine like I do. Like we really use it to like decompress. So I'm gonna scrape a nice resin. I'm gonna break one of my pipes for her. Scrape a nice resin bowl. Probably watch the game. And before that, yeah, I was gonna. I'm doing these reaction videos. I'm gonna watch that video about Obama's final year. My goal is to create a podcast with the membership of like a Joe Rogan type. Like I think I could compete in. I could compete in that space. I just gotta figure out how. That would be awesome, Leah. If you're a personality in public radio and I was a personality on the fucking podcast space with like 1 million followers, because I mean you have it. Your personality is very unique. You're being set up with the right tools to maximize your personality, and then if you get those hours and shit,
I hope so.
You have the self-belief, and you have the intellectual capacity, and you have the curiosity, and you have like what you said about psychedelics is exactly what I feel like. You have like the right.
Yeah, no, there's certain areas that I feel truly wise about.
Yeah, exactly. Like what you said about therapy is like, no, some of the shit in your head is fucking stick a fork in it. It's gone. Just start handing it out now.
I know.
But it makes you frustrated as an artist sometimes, because then you're like, when is my time gonna come?
Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it looks like, but I think maybe it has to do with getting my house in order. I do. I'm sorry, I don't mean to bring angst into your space, but I do.
That's what it's here for.
Feel like I need to shift something, and
you know what you need? You ever read any J.D. Salinger?
What are you, like, my adolescence? Yeah, I read everything he ever wrote.
You read his 9 Stories book?
Of course.
That's why I have the 9 lines, because he's like, there's few writers who are like...
Yeah, I mean, J.D. Salinger was like a pivotal figure in my adolescence.
Yeah, I think he was a perfect short storyist. There's a couple of people who like just did it as good as you can do it. And maybe not all of his stuff, but most of his stuff. I was going to loan you that. I always have I have a couple copies of it.
Stories.
Yeah. Doesn't that, like reading good art, like helps put you in the right headspace to like put energy into yourself?
Absolutely.
I was just looking at that. So.
Absolutely. You're sorry.
Okay.
Not have my feet in your face. It's rude.
What?
It's rude to put feet in somebody's face. I'm sorry.
I thought it was a sign of fucking empathy and trust and vulnerability when fucking people casually touch each other.
It's not the touch issue, it's just putting feet in somebody's face. I have like,
Do your feet stink?
Probably. I have some like classic...
They do, they stink really bad.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Do they?
No, they don't. I'm just fucking around.
I have some like pretty...
You're pretty flexible. You want to do yoga on the roof with us in the summer?
Sure. I have some pretty classical ideas about manners. I was raised...
Why do you have your feet on my couch?
Well, because you're allowed to have feet on the couch. Of course you can have feet on the couch. Just not wearing shoes.
I know.
But,
is your head... Or yeah, but what?
No, I'm sorry. I just like really, this idea of moving home, it's just been burrowing in me, and it just keeps not making any sense financially. It just doesn't make sense to move. That's the problem. It doesn't make sense. It's really hard to do something that doesn't make sense.
Don't decide that yet. Right now, we're just going to go out a little bit, and I'm going to take you to some places on the Upper West. I'm going to try to, I think right now, I'm trying to convince you to move to the Upper West, because that's where value and Manhattan access combine. Because I think you're too old for the Upper East. The Upper East, to get the value you want, it's like, you're either young or you're really old. So like, the Upper West, I feel like is vibrant enough. It has like Trader Joe's, it has culture, there's a Natural History Museum, it has the park. In the Upper West, you could live right off the park for under $2,500. And that's what I was saying, in the sunken living room apartment with a wood-burning fireplace. I've seen some cool shit on the Upper West.
For $2,500?
Under $25. You could get one bed on a high-floor walk-up for $21, $22. No broker fee.
With a sunken living room?
No, not all that. You need $25 for that.
I want a sunken living room.
Maybe.
God,
I have this guy, 22, and he gives you 700 square feet. I have some really good value, and he'll pay the broker fee, and I won't collect on my end. I'll pull it up right now. Fucking.
I don't really have any friends up there.
oh God, I want to change in my life, but I want to move somewhere without my friends.
See, and the funny thing is, I've been looking at moving.
You'd be married within a year if you moved to the Upper West.
I've been looking at moving, like further out, like south of Prospect Park.
Everyone does that. They're always like, I'm just gonna move out for Valley. You do that when you have a kid. You do this in order to get the fucking dude. You need another young professional in your career path.
You know, the funny thing is that...
Move closer to work because that's what all the other people are.
Do you know what Devin's advice for me was? Go out in Manhattan. Devin, I mean, he said the same thing to me. He's just like, you need to level up and you need to like... He was like, that was one of his ideas, but he was like...
That's weird that me and him are on the same page, because usually, think about that. When have us given similar type advice? Like,
many times. You guys are very similar in some ways.
I wouldn't think so.
You're both people who I have strong connections with.
Oh, that's crazy. And the time difference is so different too. Like the amount of time spent. That's interesting. That's why time's not important. Like money. Time and money are irrelevant. They're all perspective.
Yeah.
If it was all about spending the most time.
Yeah, I suppose I connect with you guys very differently. But you're both very high intelligence people.
Yeah, he's someone who like gets it really quickly.
He's so sharp about some things. So fucking sharp.
He was running for public advocate.
Yeah. He has such a brilliant mind. I mean, he has deficits that where I feel like you and I both don't.
I think he needs to, that whole Serapis Foundation is like, he needs to network. Like, he needs to stop trying to do his own thing.
Oh, no, he's not. He's you don't know what he's
yeah, I don't. I just know every now and then I'll look up his shit and I'm like, I just feel like...
No, his work, he's very connected to a lot of different things.
Alright, maybe I just don't know.
Yeah. But anyway, he gave me, I think it's like pretty clear for me that I feel like I'm just like in a different league than the people who I'm encountering in the dating space.
Yeah.
I'm like...
So let's get you an apartment in the Upper West and let's just try it for a year.
Yeah.
It's a $30,000 experiment. Right?
Yeah.
Budget $2,500 for a good apartment. We'll try to get you less. But let's get you 1 year, put money into yourself. Budget $2,500 for an amazing...
Is there interesting shit on the Upper West Side?
Oh, so much. Levain
What's
Bakery.
up there?
I know all these neighborhoods. This is all I've been doing for 5 years.
Besides the Natural History Museum, which I fucking love.
The bakery is the best in the world.
And there's some really good trees up there, but...
Levain, do you know that bakery? They make the best cookies in Manhattan. Well, that's just one silly thing. There's a place on 72nd called Sugar Bar, which was found... It's a bar managed by a Motown singer-songwriter duet who knew everyone from Aretha Franklin to Marvin Gaye, and those people and their family members still come in, and I think their daughter runs it now, and they have an open mic night every Thursday, and that's just one example of like hidden gems you wouldn't know unless you lived up there or you did like what I do, like walk every street. But me and my sister ducked in there, met all these fucking awesome ass people. Like, it was just like a breath of fresh air. I was like, this is like a fucking spot in Brooklyn or something, but it's right here in Manhattan, but you wouldn't know it, and it's just this fucking...
Well, what's the point of moving to Manhattan to find places that are like places in Brooklyn? Why not just go to Brooklyn?
That is a logical trick. You're just... because
No,
I'm
actually...
I'll explain to you. Because Manhattan, it costs more, and it's harder to get here. And so everything, like what Devin said, it's not to be snobbish, but you level up. Because the reason why they feel like that in Brooklyn is because it's where culture is being created. And culture is usually not being created in the place where it's sold. Because the place where it's sold is more expensive. And that's why you love that Brooklyn energy, because it's artistic. But that's why this place, like in Upper West, is so unique. Because you get that creative counterculture energy in a place that... It shows you that you can experience that here. That there are pockets of Manhattan. And I don't usually talk like this. I usually say that Manhattan is fucking done. But like for you, you've gone so much the other way. You've gone so hipster and like so much where culture is being created through the fucking people coming up. You need to live where the artists have already made it, because that's where you're at in your life. You're not coming up anymore.
I am still coming up.
Yeah, but you're reaching a point in which you're gonna have great work coming out of you, I feel, in the next 5 years. So let's live among the people that you're gonna have to start networking with. You know, you're like, you were coming up and you lived in a place that you were coming up, but now I think let's just try. That's why I moved here. because I wouldn't no matter how much money I have, then maybe that's why I popped this as an Airbnb. I couldn't improve on this location for the energy. Like I looked across the street. There's $1 million apartments across the street. Like if let's say I sell a book, would I stay in the neighborhood? I probably would. I'd probably stay within 5 blocks of here as long as I live in Manhattan. It's just my spot. And I don't think you should make that commitment because this is priced out. But like, there's so many different reasons. Be a half an hour from work would change your life. Riding up and down the West Side Highway to get to work?
Would be really nice.
That fucking, I mean, what, you work right down here?
Yeah, I'm like, I go to Goodstock for lunch like multiple times a week.
You would, you don't realize how much that affects your happiness, that commute. Like that's a drain on your...
I love that commute. I love biking.
Yeah, but it's a drain on your psychic energy to be
The biking is not a drain. The biking is truly like a source of nourishment to me. These months it's tough now that I'm on the train, but...
So it's somewhat of a drain of your psychic energy.
Like 2 months out of the year.
And when we hang out, like half the time we hang out, it's like, that's why I drove you home that one night. It's a reason why you can't stay or something like that. Maybe those were just rainy days.
No, I mean, at this point I'll take a car, like, without a thought.
You like biking. We know you like biking. You're so fucking Brooklyn. You're like, you can take my bike out of my... The Upper West is a beautiful place. Another reason to fucking live in the Upper West is, another reason to live in the West, Upper West is, has these guys got too hot? No. Are they? They are getting hot. Oh my gosh. Blow those guys out. This was an experiment. I think I'm done with the experiment.
I think I could get this experience by just, like, moving to Fort Greene.
No, you can get a different experience.
Okay.
But you can't get this experience. Got a lot darker real quick, right? Mm-hmm. The Fort Greene's nice. I just put someone in Fort Greene.
Mm-hmm. What kind of place?
Fucking $2,000 one bed with a nice big living room. I think at a washer dryer you could get some really good fucking value there. You can get a nice $2,000 apartment. Again, no fee. They'll pay the broker fee.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Any outdoor space?
Outdoor space you need Brooklyn. In Brooklyn you can get probably outdoor space for $2,000 if you really shop. You can get a really nice one bed for downtown Brooklyn, $2,000, and then you'll be around people who fucking. That's a nice neighborhood, right off the fucking FG right there. Downtown where they have farmers markets and shit. I forgot the names of those streets, but yeah, like...
What farmers market are you talking about?
Not farmers markets, but like street, they block off the streets. I was showing an apartment once. I bought that rug off my runner in the hallway. $100 rug made in Nepal off some fucking street market in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. It was fucking... that's the great thing about this job is like, all these little values I just store away. I'm like, I would live. Those are some cool streets. Downtown Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a top 10 city in the United States if it wasn't a part of Manhattan. Yeah, so, like, I don't mean to sell it short. Like, if you want to level up, you don't got to come to Manhattan. But, like, you got to move out of fucking Bushwick.
I'm not in Bushwick. I'm in Crown Heights.
You got to move out of fucking Crown Heights. I'm sorry, that's worse.
Crown Heights is gentrifying like crazy.
You got to move out of your parents' basement. That's where you're at, basically.
What?
Leah is 31 and she's still living in her parents' basement.
I'm 32.
And you're still living in your parents' house, basically. You're living with fucking roommates. Like, you're too old to live with roommates.
I like my roommates.
I know, that's awesome. Make them your friends now and visit them. I say this as a person who has, like, 4 potential people plus, but I've leveled down, I think. But I had this place to myself, and I was like, I think you've done the opposite.
How did it feel for you?
I was empty. I went from homeless to my own place, and then, like, I lost my little bit of humanity on my way. But the reason why I'm slowing down like this is because I was telling my dad, I was like, I feel like I'm on the brink of selling my project. Like, I have my fucking social security number on my arm. I was in Occupy Wall Street. I was in military intelligence, almost learned Arabic and went to the Iraq War. And I've done a bunch of other crazy shit. I just remember that I had an email correspondence with Noam Chomsky. I forgot I did that. I emailed him and we actually had it back and forth for a while. Like, I have some cool shit that would fit into a really cool narrative. Like, my job in the military was military intelligence. I was supposed to, like, I wrote it all down, but when I write it down, it's like, this is a cool fucking story.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to sell this shit, and I'm going to make a lot of money doing it, and I might even fucking make a good movie, too. But I was like, before I do that, is my head right? And that's why I took a step back in December. I was like, my head's not right. And like,
Yeah.
you can't become unfamous. So it's like, I want to get my head right. And now I feel a lot better. And so this whole thing is just to remind me who I am, and I'm starting to remember who I am. Like, I'm not by politics. I'm not my fucking real estate. I'm a guy who just wanted to buy a house for his folks. I'm just like, I'm a very, I'm a good son, and I'm a joyful kid.
Have you done that?
No. That's why I have to sell my book and my writing. I got into real estate to help them out. I got into real estate because I went to Occupy Wall Street because they lost their house in the recession. And I got into real estate because apparently we weren't going to protest our way to a better society. I mean, I don't know. No, I thought I was going to sell a book about Occupy Wall Street. But apparently I'm going to sell a book about me trying to sell a book all my life. I know, it's a good story. I'm sure that someone is going to fucking buy it. But like, and if they don't, I'll just make $1 million. I'm going to make $1 million this year one way or another. And if I don't do it that way, I'll just fucking bite the bullet and start selling real estate. But either way, before I made a bunch of money, I wanted to make sure my head is right. And I think your head is already right, and you don't have to worry about leveling up. I think your head is in a good spot, and you know who you are. You've been cautiously, like, it's risk aversion. I took a lot of risks, and then I had to take a step back because I thought that maybe I was unstable. You've taken little risk, and now maybe it's time for you to make a big decision. So there we go. Let's put a couple out there so it's not just my bias. I'd say, what is another area? Not on the east side because you work on the west side. So if you're going to be over here, and I'm not a big believer in fucking settling for value. I don't believe in those. Like, if you really like Chelsea, great, but I'd say either do the Village or do the Upper West. Do up to 2,500, Village or Upper West, or downtown Brooklyn. You're up with me on downtown Brooklyn or no?
Downtown Brooklyn's cool. I mean,
I'm just saying because like you'll have people who are your career path. You'll meet like successful young 30s types of people around there.
yeah.
There's nice spaces there. I've seen them, like nice townhouses with outdoor space. What's your aversion to it? But they won't be Manhattan.
I'm just wondering who all these people are. I guess it's the point. I don't know.
Well, let's see. Leia's thinking about dating, but Leia's having problems in her dating life. And she's thinking about dating more people. But for some reason, she doesn't think that moving to one of the densest places on Earth in terms of population is going to improve her odds.
Well, I'm just here anyway, so I have a hard time. Like, I'm a little confused by the logic because I'm in this neighborhood every day for work.
How long? How long have you been working here?
Like a year and a bit.
Okay, so tell me what you've learned about the neighborhood. I bet you it's not the same as what I've learned living here.
What have you learned living here?
Well, you tell me. Well, let's compare knowledge.
I literally don't know how to answer that question.
My point is that you living here, you learn by a factor of like 10 more than visiting here for work.
Dude,
All right, tell me five coffee shops within a block of here. You live.
La
you work
Colombe.
there. Right down the street.
That place on Sullivan and whatchamacallit? Third Rail. The other La Colombe. The place.
I just remember La Colombe. That's what you're talking about. Okay. Where's La Colombe?
There are two La Colombes. There's one on Van Dam. There's one on
it's like a chain, right?
Prince. I mean, it's out of Philly.
Now Van Dam and Prince. Wow, we're going 10 blocks. I said this.
No. Well, there's one on Van Dam. There's one on Prince.
We'll go 3
where
blocks.
Are we right
3
now?
blocks. We're on Carmine and Bleecker.
Why would I know your exact block?
Okay, I'm sorry.
I mean, there's Grey Dog. There's that place beside Good Stuff.
If you lived around here, you'd probably know.
I also don't drink coffee, so.
Okay. Oh, you know, all right. I was just an example, but I just know like I could say 5 within a block, and 10 within like. There's one on the right over here on the way to Grey Dog. I always forget the name.
No, the one on the right beside Good Stuff.
Exactly. Do you know the donut place over there off of Morden? That has the bacon covered donuts? Do you know? You don't understand. You don't walk the streets as much when you don't live here. You probably have a routine to work and a routine back, and sometimes you change it up and not much.
No, dude, I also, like, I've spent so much time in this neighborhood.
You're not going to win.
I lived here at some
Did
point.
you?
Yeah, in like 2008.
Where'd you live?
Was 4th and 6th.
Like, there's just certain things you only do in your neighborhood. Like, that's why you live there. That's why you should live in a fucking different neighborhood, because you'll develop different routines and patterns.
I know. It's just a question of what neighborhood.
Time is a zero-sum game. You would spend less time in Crown Heights and more time here. You would visit Crown Heights.
Yeah.
You ever go hang out at Friends and Lovers?
Yeah.
Yeah. See how you just said yeah? It's because, like, you probably had some, like...
No, not that much. That's where Devin and I went out dancing last week.
Oh, that's adorable. But that's what I mean. But, like, you would have that here. Like, right now, if you want to get a drink, I'd take you to Blind Tiger. Because they have fucking 25 beers on tap.
Let's go right now.
The best fucking... You don't know that Blind Tiger has amazing...
Where's Blind Tiger? I'm
right
looking,
2 blocks away.
My friends and my coworkers and I are always looking at... I'm writing this down in my notes because we're always looking for bars to go to after
Pulled
work.
pork tacos. I go there for dinner sometimes just for the pulled pork tacos.
Let's go right now.
Covered in kimchi.
Let's go
Pulled pork tacos topped with kimchi, and they fucking fill you up, and they're only like $10. It's a bar with amazing food and amazing beers on tap.
Let's just go right now.
They have 5 like different fucking IPAs. All right, we'll go.
Okay, I'll go to the bathroom. Or somebody in there. I'll go to the bathroom. And we can go. We can get a drink. We can get some food.
That sounds amazing. But I only know that place because from wandering around. And then there's like a open mic I haven't gone to, but it's on fucking Jones right around the corner. I've been meaning to fucking so much. Like, I haven't gone to everything around here, but like Manhattan's so dense that like you could spend a year somewhere and not go to all your places on your block. Like over here I'm just so passionate about this. Between LaGuardia and 6th Avenue are some of the densest blocks in the city. Yeah. That's like Times Square dense right there. Below Washington Square Park, you have LaGuardia, McDougal, Thompson,
I know all
Sullivan.
these streets.
Like I get angry when people undervalue my neighborhood. Like, there's a reason why. Like, I pick it because this is the best place. I tell people this is the best place to live in the city, one of the best places in the world. And then I tell people to challenge them. Like, prove me wrong. Like, there's... Like, celebrities come out to my neighborhood for a reason. I saw Dave Chappelle on a random Monday. Because when Dave Chappelle wants to test his material, he comes to fucking test it in front of Shaz. And then when fucking Taylor Swift wants to take Lorde out for her birthday, she comes to Shaz's neighborhood and invites Aziz Ansari, who lives in Tribeca because he can't live here because it's too hot. But he would if he could. But the celebrities live in Tribeca because you could be a little more anonymous. Taylor Swift, fucking, you could go to my roof and look at the townhouse that Taylor Swift rented on Cornelia, 1 block over. Because when her Tribeca place was being renovated, she lived over here. Like,
I hear you. I definitely hear what you're saying.
Madonna lives on the Upper East because she's old, or else she'd live down here. Like, fucking when, what's her name? I could go on for like a while. But when Lady Gaga wanted to play a fucking concert in New York to get back to her roots, she went to Red Lion, right down the street. Like, this is just... New York's a cultural epicenter of the world, and this is a cultural epicenter of New York. So, like, if you want to date and get out, and, like, yeah, you have NYU kids over there, but, like, not just that, you have people like me. You have passionate, interesting people who are, like, who have taste. People who live here have taste. Or they're spoiled, or they're fucking rich kids, or blah, blah, blah. But, like, some of us, I feel like I'm not the only one here. Other people could have lived anywhere in the city and chose here because there's, like, a feeling here. There's, like, a style. We'll just walk.
Let's go. I understand.
I'm super passionate about
Let's get out of your apartment.
All right.